we've got some things to talk about with Steve Wilks' play calling. Boy Green Daily starts now.
I'm going to lose my gosh darn bananas. Boy Green Daily starts now. Zoinks!
Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. Let's go!
Put your seatbelts on. Get ready for the ride. We're the freaking New York Jets, so we're built for this shit.
Hey, God bless. Hope you guys are doing well. My name is Paul Hester Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. I'm currently in a hotel room with my sleeping family. We didn't have a show yesterday because of the hotel as well. So we're just going to sort of do an entire show of whispering. And hopefully that's something you guys can appreciate. Didn't want to go, back-to-back shows without you guys, getting to interact. So make sure you guys like the video, hit subscribe. We have a full article in the YouTube description down below on this subject matter. With another blowout loss to the Dallas Cowboys, there's been a lot of people saying, oh boy, Steve Wilks should be fired, or maybe his play calling should be stripped. Aaron Glenn was asked about that after the game. We're going to go to that footage, and he made his feelings very clear on the thought of stripping Steve Wilks of play calling. Here's Aaron Glenn.
Defense struggling the way it is, Aaron, is there any consideration from you to take a more proactive approach in play calling?
I know that's going to be the thing that everyone says, but I always go back to my first year in Detroit, when we struggled on defense too, and our head coach had a lot of confidence in me making sure we get it right, and I feel the exact same way. Have a lot of confidence in Wilks. He's done a lot of great things in this league as a defensive coordinator, and I'm gonna allow him to do his job. I am, because once things change, then the mentality of everybody starts changing as far as he can coach, and that's what happened to me. So. I have all the confidence in the world in him. I have all the confidence in the world in Tanner, and all the confidence in the world in Badshaw. I'm going to let those guys do their job.
All right, guys, I'll try to speak a little bit louder. I know it's hard to hear me. In other words, Aaron Glenn made his feelings very clear. He will not be benching. You can't. Well, I guess you can't bench a coach, I guess. But he will not be firing Steve Wilks. He will not be stripping him of play calling. He made his feelings abundantly clear that it won't be happening. And again, first off, right off the top rope, I'm wearing the shirt from number one Austrian Jet fan, the Boy Green Coffee Club shirt. I want to give a massive shout out to everybody that was at the tailgate yesterday, that were at the meet and greet on Saturday. It was an amazing experience. There's so much pictures, videos, and everything to come. And I love all you guys. And we'll talk even more about all the festivities from this weekend a little bit, but just to get the Jets, Cowboys, Steve Wilks, and all that jazz, just to address that here on the show. But thank you guys for being there yesterday. It was awesome. Awesome. Lou B, Super Jets fan, the Sprinter, Chef Kevin Gilbert with the food, James Woody, my entertainment coordinator, was awesome. And I'm in a hotel too, so Wi-Fi has been historically spotty on Boy Green Dailies at hotels, regardless of wherever we are on the planet. So hopefully you guys are getting this. Here's the thing. Steve Wilks has been awful. I've got a lot of statistics that will describe to you how awful he and this defense have been. The Jets are the first team in NFL history to have 0 takeaways through the first 5 weeks of a season. Do you know how, I was just about to say, do you know how hard that is? Obviously, it's pretty hard because it's never happened before. But the football is oblong shaped. How in one of the 5 games does it not randomly bounce in your direction and you get it? It just seems sort of bizarre that has not happened. So very bizarre, very strange, very odd. No interceptions, no fumbles, nothing. Zip and pip. Shout out to Will McDonald, who had the special teams turnover, but that does not count for defense. So no defensive turnovers, no defensive takeaways, excuse me. First team in NFL history through the first 5 weeks of a season for that to happen. So that's not good. The Jets got a sack yesterday. It was hard to recognize, but they did get a sack. That's because Dak Prescott, during a scramble, gave himself up. The Cowboys were missing 80% of their starting offensive line, and the Jets had one sack, which really wasn't a sack, and they just missed out on it. Awful. Absolutely awful. So they can't get after anybody. That's a struggle. They're undisciplined. There were 12 penalties called against the Jets yesterday. 10 of them were accepted. So far this season, the Jets have accumulated 42 penalties for 352 yards. Unbelievable. Unbelievable levels of undiscipline for the Jets. So they can't create takeaways. They can't get after the quarterback. They're undisciplined animals. Now, here's the positive, right? That's why you guys come here to Boy Green Daily and the Coffee Club and everything else. Is you're like, well, Paul, what's the optimism here? What's the positivity? What's this? It is this. The fact of the matter is we saw this a couple of years ago, right? Let's go back to 2021. Jeff Ulbrich so let's even go back before that. Robert Saleh gets hired by the Jets in 2021. He's a defensive guy. A lot of us assumed that he was going to call plays when he was hired. That's, the whole reason the Jets hired him in the first place was his prowess on the defensive side of the football. So, they hired him, but he chose not to call the defensive plays. He delegated that task to Jeff Ulbrich, their defensive coordinator, to do that role. And Jeff Ulbrich was terrible. Absolutely awful was Jeff Ulbrich. Here are some of the numbers about how awful he was. It's also in the article in the YouTube description down below. The Jets finished last in total yards, 396.6 per game. They finished last in points per game, 29.6, and they were 31st in takeaways. They're also bad taking away the football in that season as well, with only 14 takeaways in 2021. There were calls for Jeff Ulbrich to be fired. There was call for Robert Saleh to strip him of play calling at some point during the season. The Jets did not acquiesce to those demands, and they ended up keeping him. And Robert Saleh, I remember vividly, after his first season with the Jets, he did these weekly interviews on the Michael Kay show, and basically they said, hey, man, you going to fire that Ulbrich guy? He sucks. And Saleh sort of chuckled and goes, hey, man, it's 1 year, man. It wasn't good, but we're going to bounce back. And Saleh was a man of his word, at least from that perspective, because the Jets did turn it around, and they did have immediate changes. The following season in 2022, the Jets ranked fourth in points and yards allowed per game, as well as fourth in defensive EPA, which is a deeper level analytical statistic. In 2023, the numbers were still good. They were third in yards, 12th in points per game allowed, and finished second in defensive EPA. So, long story short, the Jets sucked initially, and then they turned it around. So that's what you got to hope for. Aaron Glenn, you heard it in that answer there. Aaron Glenn himself said that, he struggled in Detroit. Dan Campbell did not give up on him. He didn't fire him. He didn't strip him of play calling, and they were able to overcome it and make it happen. So this time around, he's going to be hoping that Steve Wilks can do the same thing here. Now, here I think is the difference in some of those scenarios. So that's the optimism that hopefully it just sort of turns around. It's hard to get worse than where they're at. But here's where it's sort of a struggle for me. When you look at the resume of an Aaron Glenn, right? So I pull up Aaron Glenn's wiki bio as we're looking at this for Aaron Glenn. Aaron Glenn was never a defensive coordinator until 2021. He actually became a defensive coordinator the same season that Jeff Ulbrich did. So Aaron Glenn is a first-time defensive coordinator in 2021 when he's having all of his struggles. When you go to Jeff Ulbrich here, when you look at his resume here on the channel, and you look at what he was able to do on his NFL docket, okay, he was a defensive coordinator for the Jets. He had never served as a straight-up defensive coordinator before. He had an interim role before the Falcons, but I don't count that. So he was a first-time defensive coordinator, was Jeff Ulbrich. Aaron Glenn was a first-time defensive coordinator. The thing here with Steve is he's not a defensive coordinator, or a first-time defensive coordinator, excuse me, although some of you probably wish he wasn't a defensive coordinator at all. That's the part that I think some Jet fans are going to struggle with, is that Steve Wilks has been a defensive coordinator throughout his career. He's been with Cleveland. He's been with, let me see, the 49ers, Cleveland. I mean, there's colleges that he was defensive coordinator for. Like, he's been a defensive coordinator a lot. And as Jet fans, I think a lot of us said, well, at least the defense is going to be taken care of because he's done that job before. Tanner Engstrand has never been an offensive coordinator before, so what's he going to be, we should feel pretty good about Steve Wilks, and it's been quite frankly the opposite. So this has been a struggle bus for the New York Jets, and that's the part that Aaron Glenn is preaching patience. And that's a hard thing for Jet fans that have seen one winning season in 14 years, haven't been to the playoffs in 14 years, and it's looking like 15. No team in NFL history has ever started a season 0-5 and then turned it around to make the playoffs. So are you saying there's a chance? Maybe, but we've seen absolutely no sign of that being possible, sadly. But hey, you never know. There's a first time for everything. So we'll see. And September sucked for the Jets. They went 0-4. They started off October. I'm like, hey, we're undefeated in October. That's no longer true. The Jets lost to the Cowboys, but we're undefeated in countries outside of America. That will be put to the test this week as the Jets travel to London. They're actually going to be apparently traveling today to London, and then they'll have their off day Tuesday and then normal practice week. So they're going over early, and I think that makes a lot of sense, by the way, for the London choice. Get over there early, don't mess around, and then have as normal of a week as you could possibly have. So I think that's a good decision by the Jets to have that immediate turnaround. Shout out to Paul Taxter here, gifting 5 Boy Green Coffee Club memberships, baby. Appreciate you, Paul. Memberships are more gifted on this program. We play a short video package and finer time. Thank you so much, Paul. Appreciate that, buddy. Thank you guys all for the support. Quite frankly, it's been magical, but I appreciate all the memberships being gifted. You guys allow me to, as my baby's getting upset there in the room, that's allowing me to do everything that we've been doing for all this. So I really appreciate it. Those 5 memberships, by the way, went to Mark O, Tom Ruck, Sovacito, Daz Akustif, and Jets Runny. You guys all got 5 members to the Boy Green Coffee Club, so shout out to Paul Taxter. Paul Taxter, appreciate that, buddy, and we'll figure out. I'm keeping track of everything, so if anyone gives any memberships today, I will be keeping track of that, but we'll update the banner when I get back to the home base so you guys can see it, scrolling on your ticker and all the prizes that'll be happening this month and all that jazz. We'll catch back up on that when we get back, for sure. Let's answer some of your questions. By the way, Nick Faria should be joining us at 8 o'clock, so we'll have Nick on for a little bit, and you guys can call in and ask your questions, Nick. We'll see how long we go with the hotel and everything. I'm not sure. But we have 200-plus people in the room. Like the video, hit subscribe. Shout out to Nate. It was awesome to have Nate and his buddy Mike Rubino. Shout out to those two. Mike Rubino came last second. He bought Easy's ticket, so salute. By the way, the Easy, or whatever name we've transitioned to call it. Shout out to Chef Kev. That was delicious. We had a taste of it last night at his or Saturday night rather at his restaurant. So that was terrific. So big shout out there. Thank you, Mike Rubino, for coming up. All that money went to the Wounded Warrior Project, which is a shout out to Cole Young. He won around $1,500, and he donated half of that back to the Wounded Warrior Project. So we raised over $2,000 for charity, and Cole Young won our live giveaway there in the tailgate. So big shout out to Cole. My pop already said this. To me privately, but as soon as that once we tally up all the official numbers and everything, Cole already got his money yesterday, so shout out to Cole. But once we have all the official numbers, my pop will officially make that donation to the Wounded Warrior Project, and we'll show you guys on social media when that's officially submitted to the WWP. So thank you guys so much for all the support. The fact that we're able to raise over $3,000 raise $3,000, which the majority of it went to charity, is amazing. So thank you guys out there in the audience. So Nate, it was great seeing you, Nate, and your buddy Mike. Indy Jets, meeting Indy Jets for the first time. Boy, was that an experience. Indy. There was a lot of fun. He brought Philly noodles with him. Shout out here. Much love to BG, Chef Kev, Snowball, to all who joined us for a great weekend. Yes, we had Snowball at the meet and greet on Saturday night, so that was awesome. He hooked me up. It's actually too far away for me to reach, but he hooked me up with some Jets Worldwide merch. Can't wait to be donning that on the show. That's going to be awesome. So I appreciate Snowball for the special gift. That was terrific. It was great having Indy there. Very passionate, And I actually heard this. This actually happened. Someone, and it's funny, and you guys can tell stories too when you call in. But so I'm hanging out both at the meet and greet and the tailgate, and not so sure. A lot of people are there to see me. Cool. I'm just some guy, but so some people saw me for the tailgate. But I thought one of the coolest things was people seeing each other, right? Like Indy and Badshaw seeing each other for the first time, or Indy and Hep, or whoever. And there was someone that heard Indy's voice and like and found him and said, "Oh my God, I love your takes." I don't know. I don't know if that was staged. I'm not sure if Indy paid that guy and then he circled back around and then did that in front of me. I'm not exactly sure, but that was cool. It was cool to see all you guys. Mr. Kennedy, Aunt. Oh, geez. Nope. Children waking up. Aunt Jets 82 was in that group. It was NC Green. It was great to meet you and your friend Badshaw and his wonderful bride. The Langleys, Joshua, Cecilia, you out there? Big shout out to you guys as well. That was a lot of fun meeting you guys. You guys were a real treat. Shad was awesome. He won the ticket. Someone asked me earlier who won the ticket to sit next to Pop. That was Shad. He won it. And Shad was awesome. He came over from California. Havmo and his beautiful bride, Kim, who is a Cowboys fan. Well, we tried to look past that. But shout out to Havmo and Kim. They were awesome. I'm trying in my head go table by table. DNY for life. Melissa, their beautiful daughter. She was there. I'm trying to go around the room now. We had Philly. We had Ant-Man. We had the T-shirt cannon guy who works for the Jets for like the last 3 seasons as like the T-shirt cannon guy intern. That was sweet. Let me see who else. Mac. We had Mahar Khalil and his girlfriend, which was awesome. They were there, and Mahar won our top donator prize for the Wounded Warrior Project, which was amazing. I'm trying to, because we did meet and greet first. That was on Saturday night, so I was just trying to remember everyone in order of the room that they were in. Aunt Jets 82. We had the T-shirt cannon guy. We had Philly Noodles, Snowball, Indy Jets, Badshaw, his wife. Oh man, I mean, absolutely spectacular. We knew that the business we could handle was excellent, absolutely excellent. Levy Heisenberg says the Patriots beat the Bills last night. Unbelievable. In Buffalo, too. Carolina beat Miami. I just don't see a win this season. The Jets are, of course, the only remaining winless team in football, and that is a tough pill to swallow. We don't have to worry about strength of schedule here for the draft people in our audience. We would have the number 1 overall pick of the 2026 NFL draft. That is unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. So, yeah, we just have to, again, I've said it before, it's one win at a time. That is the key for the New York Jets. It's one win at a time. Shout out to my parents. Hop on Pop is driving them all home. So shout out to my mom, my dad, Haley, my sister, my beautiful fiance, my beautiful queen over here for holding it all down. Polly, PE3. My son got to see his first Jets game. Wish I could have picked that one, a little bit better. But, what are you going to do? That was tough. Oh, Barbara. Oh, it was awesome to meet Barbara and her husband. That was cool. Barbara was there in the group as well. Names are just gonna randomly pop and hit me like that, like a sack of potatoes. Obviously, Gina, the DJ, was super cool. That was cool, and our Will, her buddy there, the other DJ, Woody, was also mixing it up. Like I said, we'll have pictures and videos and a lot of cool stuff coming out. Shout out to Peter, who filmed our entire event, which was great. Terrence Hill, of course, yes, Terrence Hill was there, and his buddy that he brought along was awesome. Yes. I'm going to see names, and they're going to like jump out to me of more stories to tell, because it was a hell of a time, baby. Woody, I think, said this yesterday. I'm not here for a long time, but I'm here for a good time, and he did. So that was cool. Trying to see through the comments, see if I missed anybody else. I definitely did. I don't have like a list in front of me or anything, and we had 45 people at the meet and greet, and then like 65 plus at the tailgate, which was awesome. So shout out to you guys. That was super cool. that was something we plan on doing every year. So I hope that's something you guys can all be a part of in the future. If you guys weren't, I would say this because we are going to do it next year. For those that were unable to come for whatever reason, save your shekels, people, because we're going to find a lot of details earlier in the off season, right? Like obviously the schedule doesn't come out till May, but we will know our opponents at the end of the season. So me and the group will be able to sort of filter out what games are most interesting for whatever reason. And so, yeah, if you guys want to come next year, make sure you save your shekels and be ready to go. And it's an awesome time. I think a lot of the people in this group will be able to tell you the time they had with the food and meeting each other and stuff like that. It was an absolute spectacular time. Rico the pup says, I feel like I'm listening to NPR right now. Yes, I am doing a little bit of this whisper because I am in a. If you guys can't read my secondary headline there, I'm in a hotel room with my sleeping family, and the business office was accounted for, so I didn't want to go 2 straight days without doing a Boy Green Daily. So we're just trying to figure it out. I'm glad that the hotel seems to be doing a lot better yesterday. NC Green, it was great to meet you as well. Awesome. Sorry about your plane troubles. We couldn't get you there for the meet and greet, but I'm glad they were able to figure out. And also, because I'm an idiot, so let me take some heat here, right? I'm like, oh, D1, that's going to be great. And when I got to the tailgate yesterday, right, I'm there like 8:05, 8:10, whatever I'm at, and I say, hey, MetLife attendant, I just can't see D1. Where is it? And he points to a hole behind him, behind a fence. He's like, yeah, unavailable. I went, oh, Jesus. So we sort of had to call an audible at the line of scrimmage and move the tailgate to a new place, which was crazy. So sorry for anyone that had troubles trying to find our tailgate, because we had troubles trying to set up the tailgate because we couldn't know where to go because D1 was in a big hole in the ground. So unavailable. So we'll try to make sure we clean that up for next year and make sure we're all set. But maybe D7 is just going to be our new place of business. We'll sort of see. Salute to Mike Rubino. Thanks for everything, Paul. Chef Kev. Oh, he did a wonderful job with the food. So big shout out to Chef Kev. Yeah, Nate was a lot of fun. For sure. Terrence was fun, dancing around. Really good vibes from my boy Terrence. And Jets 82. Yeah, there you go. Giving a shout out to Indy. It's hilarious. He has a good eye for food. God, my voice is probably gone from screaming on the mic yesterday, a couple of Jet chants, which definitely happened. Yeah. Big Green says, #1 pick, baby. I mean, as a draft fan, now let me put all these in a couple of pockets. I don't like to talk draft in the first week of October. I'm going to be honest. I watch college football, but I'm paying attention so far. To this point, I've paid attention to 0 mock drafts. I haven't looked at anything. People are saying I'm taking for this guy or taking for this guy. I've got no idea what you're talking about. I have not dove in at all because I was all in on this season. And it sounds like shortly thereafter, I guess we got to look at draft, which, as a draft fan, I'm a diehard draft fan. I love the draft. I love covering the draft. I love talking about the draft. I just didn't want to do it in the first week of October or September for that matter. And yet here we are, baby. So, yes, that would be incredibly exciting if the Jets end up with the #1 pick if we're in the offseason. It's not going to be exciting the rest of this year if that's what transpires, which would be less than ideal. But A74, a.k.a. Lon, says Stephon Diggs returned to form. Hey, I'll tell you, I was surprised when he had the ACL injury last year and he was available to be a free agent. I'm like, oh, I don't think I want to pay him the buco bucks he's probably going to get. And he got a nice little 3-year deal. I don't remember the money, but he got decent money from New England. And they were sort of desperate. They've been trying to acquire pass catchers all offseason. They kept rejecting them. They tried to acquire pass catchers last year, were rejected. But good for Stephon. Hey, he definitely made some noise. Stephen Fox says, indeed, definitely paid that guy. But I did hear it, and I was like, almost like, what? I'm sorry, huh? Who?
Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. Talking Jets football, man. Boyd Green Daily, Boyd Green Daily, Boyd Green Daily. New York Jets Football Club. Offense, defense, special teams, watch Jets football with Boyd Green. J-E-T-S, Jets. Let's go.
Sorry, folks, a couple of audio difficulties here. So if you guys can't hear me, let me know. But I think I fixed it. But speaking of that random Hep video, as I was trying to figure that out, Hep did the Boyd Green Daily song live in the parking lot, and people were singing along to it and JETS chanting. Oh my God, that was cool. That was so I can't wait. Peter, our filmographer, cinematographer, whatever name you want to call him, he captured it all. So that's going to be cool to unveil. Yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. Alon also says that guy was paid by Indy for sure, which is great. Yes, that was hilarious. Leo Gold says, remember when you picked the Jets to win the AFC East? I did. And I did in one of my predictions say the Jets are going to go 12-5. Now, some people would say, Paul, what an idiot. But there may be some other people that said, oh, the Jets lost 5 games. Now they can win 12 in a row, which would then cover the 12-5. So it's not impossible yet. Unlikely, perhaps, but not impossible. So, Leo Gold, I just want to put that out in the universe. We have 300 people in the room. Make sure you guys like the video, hit subscribe. There you go. There's another one. Again, I'm going to see people's names, and it's going to inspire stories. Of course, the Orangos. This is 2 years in a row and almost 3 years in a row, because in 2023, we were all at the Jets-Cowboys game, but we didn't know each other was at the Cowboys game, so we didn't run into each other. But Eric Jr. and Eric Sr., they were sitting in front of us with the tailgate, or the game and the tailgate for that matter. So it was great seeing the Orangos. Too much Cowboys celebration, but for the Orango Senior. But yes, that was a lot of fun. So salute to the Orangos. And Eric, Take Flight Eric says, Woody had some good dance moves. He was doing a lot of dancing out there. And he also said, shout out to the DJ she was going at. Yeah, that is Gina Turner. That was my first time meeting her. We had sort of sorry, my throat from the screaming from the tailgate meet and greet, I guess, is getting to me. Yeah, Gina was great, provided by Lou B. So shout out to Lou B. That was my first time meeting Gina, but she had the party going crazy. It added a great element to the tailgate festivities, which was awesome. So shout out to Gina for sure. That's true. Indy Jets says that Boyd Green gained several new subscribers after the game due to some wheeling and dealing. Yeah, I don't even know if I'm legally allowed to. Items of the tailgate had to be shipped up to people he knows here in the New Jersey, New York area, and then we had nowhere to take that stuff after because he had to fly back. So it was a whole dealio there where Indy Jets was like moving and dealing some stuff like, hey, you need a table. Hey, you need a little bit of water, Gatorade, beer, alcohol. Like it was, hey, subscribe to my man's channel. So it was pretty impressive. So shout out to Indy. And shout out to Barbara. Like I said earlier, Barbara and her husband. It was awesome. He's a Vikings fan. She told me, Purple People Eaters, which hey, man, the Vikings went to 4 Super Bowls and lost. Now, they didn't do it like the Bills and lost 4 in a row, but they did lose 4. But I told them, don't worry, we're all going to see it again. Maybe a Jets-Vikings Super Bowl or something in the future, But it was great meeting Barbara and her husband. That was terrific. Oh, Barbara was a real treat. Uncle Indy. That's right, Uncle Indy. We're all here for family, that's for sure. NC Green says, my most disappointing thing on this team is the offensive line. Yeah, I'll tell you. Before the year, I was very high on the offensive line. I told you guys this. One of my biggest points of optimism for the Jets was like, man, this could be a top 10 offensive line. Now, Armand Membu, in context, before I say anything, when you're at a game, I don't think you get the full wraparound of everything. I was looking at the box score and seeing things that were like, whoa, whoa, whoa. It's sort of hard when you're at home or doing the live play-by-play. Sometimes I think you have sort of a better analysis. As my son's getting upset there. I'm getting upset too. I mean, this offensive line has not delivered to the point that I thought it would. You can't get the same level of like understanding and things. So I'm going to have to go back and watch. But heading into this game, Armand Mimbu had been spectacular. He was called for a hold in one of the plays yesterday where he pancaked a Cowboys offense on. I'm like, come on, get the hell out of here. He threw him out of the club, which was awesome. So the offensive line has not performed up to snuff, and that's incredibly disappointing. So NC Green, you're right. It's definitely one of the most disappointing things of this team now. When you're 0-5, luckily it's a multiple choice question for most disappointing things because a lot of things are most disappointing about this. Yeah, and as Badshaw says, how are the box seats? He had to make a pivot, which, hey, more power to him. You got much better seats. But I'm glad. It seemed like you guys, one of the big compliments. Should have grabbed the water or something. But anywho, we'll power through. I would say one of the big compliments is people seem to really enjoy the seats. That was a big thing for me. I told you guys we did it last year, and we were all the way at the top of MetLife. Like if we turned around, we're all the way in the back row of the Jets-Patriots game, Week 3 last year, which was awesome. The Jets won, and it didn't matter where you were sitting, I guess, but I said if we do this again, we need much better seats, and I want guaranteed better seats. So I work with my Jets ticket rep for the first time ever, and we had seats in section 228A. Spectacular. I enjoyed the seats. They were really good. We were in the shade. That was sort of lucky. I can't take any credit for that whatsoever, but I thought the seats were awesome. So thank you guys so much for those that said it. Appreciate it. I thought the seats were really good. Yeah, there you go. There's Barbara. The seats were perfect. Yeah, I really enjoyed the seats. I thought they were great. So great. Terrence Hill says, got to send the vids to the Discord. Absolutely. We'll be updating the Discord with pictures and videos. Shout out to my parents. They've been dropping a lot of stuff in there. So more to come. But yes, if you remember the Boy Green Coffee Club, that's our YouTube group. If you go to Discord, there's going to be pictures and videos from the event. Again, eventually we're going to drop something on YouTube with even more. I'll drop a few videos here and here over the coming days, but we'll have some much bigger stuff. We'll have even much bigger, more in-depth videos and things coming out on YouTube soon. But yes, that's one of the perks of being in the Boy Green Discord, of course, is that you get all that stuff before anyone. So yes, that'll be coming through. JQuest57 heard the Board Green tailgate was pretty good. Yeah, it was cool to get eyes. People walking by going, damn. Oh, okay. So yes, again, when you surround yourself with good people, good things happen. Like I said, Chef Kev was amazing. The food was amazing. Shout out to Chef Kev Jr. Shout out to his wife. They all handled the food and did a terrific job, which was a lot of fun. And then again, we're willing to pivot when we had to move tailgate locations last second. That was awesome. So yeah, if you guys are interested next year, just make sure you're at the ready. I'm going to be promoting it all the time, of course, here on Boy Green Daily, and we'll have a sign-up sheet and try to get an understanding of how many people are going to come this year. Like I said, in the seats, we had 65 people at and the tailgate was the same thing. There was only a few people that came to our tailgate through us that had to sit somewhere else for whatever reason. So yeah, for the most part, everyone sat with us. Everyone came together, and then the meet and greet the night before was awesome. So yeah, the Boy Green tailgate went spectacular. I set a very high bar because I have high expectations for events like this, and that made me feel pretty good. So yeah, the event went spectacular. Thank you. JQuest57. I still believe in Glenn. Trust in the process. We overrated our chances of being a good team. Yeah, I would say this. I 100% still believe in Glenn. And he's been talking to a couple of mentors this week. He mentioned Tony Dungy, whether it was this week or last week. He mentioned Jimmy Johnson. If you guys watch the America's Team or whatever they're calling the Netflix special, Jimmy Johnson went 1-15 that first year with Troy Aikman and everybody. So, these are not waters we wanted to preach because I think a lot of us are done waiting. And it's time to It's just time, Jet fans are ready for a turnaround, and, patience is not the first thing I want to hear. And so for me personally, you guys can believe what you want. I heard a lot of whispers in our section of like, man, we should fire Glenn. And I'm like, absolutely not. I don't want to keep going on this merry-go-round. And then what? Whoever new coach we hire, you're like, all right, well, this guy will immediately bring us to success. No, I'm riding this Aaron Glenn train. I'm going to give him time. I'm going to continue to believe in him. I'm not saying I'm happy with the results we've seen so far. Obviously, that's not true. The defense has stunk. The offense has been wildly inconsistent despite the points they ended up putting up at the end of the game. I 100% still believe in Glenn. There's a lot of stuff that unfortunately has not gone swimmingly from that perspective, but no, I still believe. And yes, Badshaw will post pictures and videos in the Discord, especially the ones you're requesting with the group pic of everyone coming together. I did get that from Luby, so I will post that in here shortly. Let's go to our special guest. Yes, it's here on a Monday. I'm in a hotel and I'm whispering with my family, sleeping in the same room that I'm currently doing a show from. That's what we do, baby. We've got 400 people in the room. Like the video, hit subscribe. But without further ado, let's bring in your mama's favorite beat reporter. It's Nick Faria of JetsXFactor.com and the Riverdale Press joining us. What's up, Nick? Good morning.
How's the event going, Paul?
Well, not well, Nick. The Jets being the only winless team in the NFL is not something I had on my bingo card. Aaron Glenn being the first-time Jets coach ever to go 0-5, and now they go to international waters where I would like to remind everyone they're currently undefeated in international waters. That is going to be up for task here against the Denver Broncos, and we'll see what happens. But, Nick, what is your message to Jet fans right now? Because obviously they're at a very low point at 0-5, and a lot of things going south. And we'll have a lot of specific questions. We'll open up the phone line so people can ask you questions and things of that nature too. But sort of in an overall sense, with this team at 0-5 and looking lost in a lot of key areas, what would your message be, Nick Faria?
I think the hardest one would be to stay the course. If you were to go out, and there are going to be a lot of Jet fans here that cry out for changes in the coaching staff, changes in the front office, fire the GM, fire the head coach. And that's just the reactionary point to all of this. No one really wants to think about what that would actually mean and what that would actually entail. What that would mean is the Jets felt so confident in a coaching staff, in a reorganization alignment, and then in 5 weeks, because they didn't like the results in the first year, that they're going to throw it out and look for another shiny new toy. That's not how it works in the NFL. It's never a good look. And if you think that you're going to overpay for a really good head coach just because you fired Aaron Glenn after one season, you're out of your freaking mind is what I would say. It would be extremely hard to move on at this point. And I don't think it's going to happen. I do think that there could be changes later on in the season, after this season, if the results do not improve. But I thought it was interesting because Aaron Glenn kind of touched on it yesterday in the postgame press conference. We asked him, are you going to consider taking over play calling on defense? And he said no. And the reason why, and sometimes with these coaches, they don't want to make a change and they're kind of stubborn about it. But I thought Glenn's explanation was actually very strong. He explained at the time when he was in Detroit that first year, Lions defense was one of the worst in football. Absolutely terrible. They didn't have the players. But Dan Campbell didn't make a change. Dan Campbell said, I trust my coaches. I'm going to let them figure it out. And they got better as the year progressed. Remember, they started 0-8, and they had a lot of talent on the roster. They had players that you could look and say, well, listen, they've clearly got something here. There's something to build off of. And it's still, the results were not showing right away. So the way that I look at it, it really is quite simple, where if you are looking for the Jets to be this 10-7, 9-8 team, and I thought they could get there this year. Clearly, that's not going to be the case. But you also have to be fair to the fact that a lot of these players came in to a different scheme. They are learning a brand new scheme. They're learning a brand new way on how to play football, and that does take time. Bill Parcells went 3-13 his first year with the New York Giants when he was head coach. People always want to say, yeah, well, he was 9-7 with the New York Jets. different situation. The Jets had a different team than the Giants did when they were starting that rebuild with Parcells. You know, you look at Dan Campbell, 3-13-1. There are instances where great coaches really struggle out of the gate their first year because they're trying to instill their process in the organization. And yeah, it's not pretty right now. That game was an utter embarrassment. It was a terrible performance all the way through. The final score is nowhere near indicative of how much of a laugher that game was. And a lot of that does have to fall on the coaching staff. They looked ill-prepared. When the Breece Hall fumble happened, the entire team kind of sunk their shoulders down and stopped competing, really, it looked like. And that's a reflection on the coaching staff as well. There are things that need to change, but I think we can have legitimate conversations of what Aaron Glenn is not doing or what the coaching staff isn't doing by saying, well, they were a mistake hire in the first place, fire them immediately. There's no reason why to keep them on the roster.
So let's go. You addressed it because, of course, that was the headline of this show and where a lot of people are at, because there's a lot of problems with a team that's 0-5, obviously. But one of the big things I think people are circling around is, okay, well, look at this defense, for God's sakes. They're the first team in NFL history to not have a takeaway through the first 5 weeks of the season. They're, of course, undisciplined, but that goes to the whole team of the 10 penalties yesterday and 42 penalties for basically 400 yards so far this season. And then the other thing, which was sort of befuddling here, Nick Faria, is the lack of pressure. The Cowboys were missing 80% of their starting offensive line, and the Jets only managed 1 sack, and that was when Dak Prescott had given himself up, and Braden McGregor secured a sack there. So this Jets defense is struggling to no end. And again, in case you guys just missed it, there is a full article in the YouTube description down below about Aaron Glenn making his feelings very clear on stripping Steve Wilks of play calling. It ain't happening. So I want to ask you this, Nick. Do you agree with the decision of Aaron Glenn? Because it's almost like from his answer that it's not just like we're going to check on this week to week. Like, he made it very clear. It sounds like he's relying on him throughout the rest of the season.
I don't know if I have a set opinion on it. And that's kind of a cop out as a beat reporter, but because if you were to go in and listen, every team is upset about a coordinator right now. In Philadelphia, they had their first loss of 2025, and everyone wants Nick Sirianni's head. Everyone wants Kevin Patullo's head. They're 4-1, and people are acting like the sky is falling. Whatever. Absolute insanity. But in the case of the Jets, their defense is not playing well, and I think some of it is because of injuries. That's a clear point. If Quincy Williams is out there, if Jermaine Johnson's out there, does this defense look differently? I think it absolutely does. But then you look at the schematic standpoint. Sauce Gardner has not played well or up to his stature of an all-pro corner, at least at this point. I do like what I've seen from Brandon Stevens. There's been a few plays here and there the last couple of weeks where I think you look and say, okay, he's improving. They're getting there. But one player that I've talked about ad nauseum for the last few years is Jamien Sherwood. Got paid 3 years, $45 million. And that first touchdown pass to Jake Ferguson was a screen. If you look at the tape, you see Jamien Sherwood completely out of position, got sucked into a run call when very clearly the read was a screen, completely ran himself out of the play. And he was the guy that needed to be at least close to it. Maybe it's a 15-yard game, but it's not a touchdown. And that's where you look and you're like, where the hell are you going, buddy? And there were a lot of those plays like that, really bad missed tackles. You look at the Javonte Williams 66-yard run, which is just flat out inexcusable with 20 seconds left. The Cowboys were essentially saying, hey, we'll go in, for halftime with a 14-point lead, and a 14-point lead became a 20-point lead in a matter of 15 seconds. It just cannot happen in the modern NFL like that. And some of it is Wilks. I do think some of it is Wilks. I think the play calls have not always put the team in a position to succeed. But this is also on the players. And this is kind of where I'm like, they're just not good enough at this point. They don't have players that are good enough to win and compete right now against some of these better teams. Maybe these guys improve down the stretch. Maybe the coaching staff improves and puts them in a position to succeed. But if we're looking at it from the totality of what we have seen in the last month and a half, it's been ugly, and it really hasn't gotten much better.
Specifically on defense, the Cowboys were missing 80% of their starting offensive line. Well, before the season, like the Jets should be able to take advantage, not even in that crazy scenario, but normal scenarios that we're going to get wins with this defensive line. And we haven't seen it. They had one sack yesterday. It was Brady McGregor when Dak gave himself up on a scramble. So they had basically 0 sacks against this 80% gone starting offensive line. What is how is that not happening? And the Cowboys seem to be gashing, and so are all the other teams in the league, every time the Jets blitz, which they're doing it a lot more in this current regime than they've done in previous regimes. They're getting caught with their pants down here. So how did the Jets not take advantage of that specific outlier heading into the game? It seemed like a big key.
Joe Douglas, I think, did a lot, and I'm going to bring him up. It may be a little controversial, but did a lot of good things for this team in terms of building the talent. But the one underrated mistake and one underrated thing that no one really talks about is that he gutted this defensive line. He went all in on Hassan Reddick, and it blew up in his face. And because they brought in Hassan Reddick, they felt that they couldn't bring in John Franklin Myers. And when you ship out JFM to Denver, who he has been fantastic with over the last 2 seasons, you have essentially put yourself in a situation where even one injury to an edge rusher, and this all gets completely destroyed. It all gets completely overwhelmed. Will McDonald's a good young player, but he is really the only edge rusher that the Jets have right now that can get after the quarterback. And teams know it. They are doubling him. They are making him a focus on the offensive line. He has not been able to get momentum because teams are just keying on him left and right. Quinnen Williams, I think, has been the best player on this defense. He's been the lone bright spot because he's played well. But outside of him, who's getting double teamed, as I said, where's the matchup win coming from? Is it coming? It's not coming from Michael Clemens. It's not coming from Harrison Phillips. And I do think Jawan Brooks has played well, but nowhere near as well as you need from a second defensive tackle. So when you look at that, you look and say, okay, well, teams are keying on Will McDonald and Quinnen Williams. Someone's got to win a one-on-one matchup. None of them are. Well, as a defensive coordinator, what's the next logical response? If I'm not getting pressure with my front four, I've got to send more people. So they're kind of in this situation where it's sink or swim because of the fact that they're not getting pressure, because of the fact that the defensive line is getting pushed around in the running game. It's forcing Wilks to force more pressure into the game, try and sort of hammer it home, bring in a blitzing linebacker, bring in a blitzing safety. And quarterbacks nowadays notice it, they see it, and they're able to respond in a very positive way. It really is just that simple. So the way that I look at it, and this is kind of why I'm like, a lot of it is on Wilks, but not all of it, because some of it is also just on player execution as well. Defensive tackles need to win their spots. The edge rushers need to win on their spots. And I do think Jermaine Johnson, when he gets healthy, will certainly aid in that need because you need edge rushers to get after the quarterback. And right now there is no one that they can trust to get after it outside of Will McDonald, and that leaves him in a very difficult situation. So the way that I look at it, the Jermaine Johnson injury really, really affected this defense in a very negative way, and they have been struggling ever since to figure it out.
And I see we have some super chat questions and things of that nature. I'll get to those in just a moment, but let's have the uncomfortable conversation here, Nick. The Jets are 0-5. No team that has started 0-5 has ever made the playoffs. And I'm not saying that for, playoffs. The reason why I'm saying that is for this next part of the question. Are the Jets about to be sellers at the deadline? And like one of those houses that you strip the copper off every pipe and try to get as much juice out of the orange that you can? Are they going to be aggressive sellers at the trade deadline?
I think you have to be, right? The Jets are going to be in a position, most likely the way things stand right now, where they're going to have another top 5 pick, which means you're going to have your pick of the litter at quarterback, depending on where you stand. And because people want to be overreactive, they're kind of all just saying, well, the quarterback class is nowhere near as good as we thought it was. Lenore Stellers isn't good. Drew Aller isn't good. All these guys stink. Again, that is not the correct way to break down developmental quarterbacks at the position, particularly in college. I am a firm believer, and I think most people will agree, if you get a top 5 pick this year with Aaron Glenn as a head coach, they're going to draft a quarterback. Whether it's Fernando Mendoza, whether it's Lenore Sellers, whoever it ends up being, they're going to draft a quarterback. And that leaves the situation of, okay, what about the talent around them? The good thing for the Jets is they have a situation where the offensive line is pretty much intact. I know they didn't play well, but it's a young offensive line that will get better as the years progress. They need time to gel. It's not always just a plug and play and then everything gets fixed kind of scheme. So I do think the offensive line is intact. That's a very good thing for a young quarterback to have. Then you add in the realistic fact of, okay, if you have a young quarterback, you want to surround him with other skill players. Breece Hall would be a wonderful addition for that. Gary Wilson's a wonderful addition to that. But are you going to give Breece Hall a contract that pays him over $10 million? Most likely not. So then you have to say, okay, well, if Breece Hall is not in our long-term plans, what are we going to do? And that kind of leads you to the solution of trade him for as many assets as you can and use the 2026 draft to build around the rookie quarterback that you want to bring in and put all your stock into going in. It's going to be a controversial move. I don't think that Breece Hall should be the only player on the trade block. I think Quincy Williams there needs to be a conversation about Quincy Williams. There needs to be a conversation about a lot of players on this roster that are essentially like, okay, we're not kickstarting a rebuild, but we're trying to recuperate assets. The Lions did it. I know Philadelphia did in 2021 when they were 2-5. They shipped off Zach Ertz for a mid-round pick. They used that mid-round pick the very next year to help get Nakobe Dean. Those kinds of things happen. It's going to be controversial, like I said, but at 0-5, it really just seems like there's no other alternative here.
Yeah, the Jets are unfortunately in that position. ROI, return on investment, could be on a Breece Hall trade. What could they get back realistically?
I would assume maybe a third-round pick. I think that's more than fair. I will say if Breece Hall continues to play well, I think it's an absolute third-round pick. And again, the fumble was really bad, but he did have a really good game. He was the main focal point of that offense. He was the only reason why this team was moving the ball against the worst defense in football, just how bad it was yesterday. The fact that the Jets could not move the ball through the air against the Cowboy defense that has been one of the worst in football. It's just inexcusable, and a highlight of just what Justin Fields is at this point as a quarterback. But I think a third-round pick is a safe bet. It'll depend to see which teams are in desperate need of a running back that are going to be in playoff contention. Certainly something to look out for, but a third, maybe a fourth. And here's the thing. People will look and say, well, that could essentially be what you get from a comp pick. And that's not necessarily true because the comp pick formula does not help you going into the 2026 draft, number one. And number two, the Jets are going to have $62 million in cap space. Even if they were to let Breece Hall walk and he were to get, let's say, $15 million on the open market. I don't think he's getting $15 million, but for the sake of this argument, let's say he gets $15 million. That's probably going to be around a third or a fourth round pick compensatory wise. But let's say the Jets go out and they spend big money on an edge rusher, big money on another receiver. That cancels out the Breece Hall comp pick. So the idea is you get whatever you can for Breece Hall now, so you do not leave it up to chance that a signing of yours cancels the pick out and you get essentially nothing for Hall hitting the open market. That would be kind of the thought process that I have going into a situation like this.
Which, by the way, makes sense. That's what happened with DJ Reed. He's the highest paid Jet free agent that left at $48 million. We got a whole lot of zip and pip for DJ Reed, which certainly happened. A couple of things here. First off, a shout out to the Vargas family that was with us yesterday at the Tailgate meet and greet. So a shout out to you guys. You guys were awesome. Appreciate that. We have a super chat coming in from Truman Dumel here on the program. Appreciate you, Truman. Here we go.
Wow.
During the game, we were at the Jets-Cowboys game for the big. That's why I'm in a random hotel room right now. During the game, the Cowboys scored like a cajillion touchdown in a row. And I turned to my co-host on my afternoon show. I said, Woody, how many games are we going to win this year? And he just laughed. And then he ducked his head down and said, I don't know, man. And now we have this from Truman Dumel, who $1.99 super chat. So who can we beat? And no, AG is not Rich Kotite, but let me just ask you. So to his question, who can we beat, and how many games are we going to win this season here, Nick Faria?
The win total is dropping tremendously. I think if you get to 5 wins at this point, it's going to be a very positive thing, because that means you have 12 games, you go 5-7 the rest of the way. You can make the argument of, okay, well, there was incremental improvement. Let's keep it rolling. And listen, the upcoming schedule, you take a look at it, you think about it, okay, well, Baltimore looked terrible yesterday, and their entire roster is hurt. Cincinnati looked terrible yesterday, and they don't have Joe Burrow. The Cleveland Browns are the Cleveland Browns. Denver is a crapshoot. 1 week they look like the best team in football that can knock off the defending champions, and the following week, they look like absolute chumps. It's just how the NFL is at times with some of these teams. And you also have to remember something else. What was it? 2020. The Jets are going in against 2020? The Jets were winless.
Yes. Yeah, and Cleveland and LA Rams back-to-back wins.
But the first win came not against, let's say, it didn't come against Cleveland, I believe. It came against the Rams, a team that has been a playoff team for years now. And they still found a way to beat them. So any way you think that your team is just not good enough and they're never going to win a game, life and the football gods kind of always tend to just sort of throw something open and say, oh, here you go. Here's good for your troubles.
So I guess you never know. So Truman, just keep on watching, baby, and they'll surprise you. It happens all the time here on the show. The great Jake Asman, of course, is joining us here on the show.
Wow.
I'm not sure if, on Jeopardy, sometimes you give an answer. I'm not sure if it's in the form of a question, but nonetheless, I will say it, Jake. Thank you for being a member for 14 months. The Jets aren't just bad. They're historically bad. Nick, your thoughts?
I don't think they're historically bad, but it is terrible. They've looked absolutely terrible. I look at historically bad like the winless Cleveland Browns of 2016, where they were blown out in pretty much every game, and there was no real fight. And then I look at, like the 2008 Lions, who were blown out in every single game. Like the Jets are in some of these games, but they're making the one mistake, the two mistakes that ultimately change everything. And again, I also want to be clear. I say they're not historically bad now. If they keep playing like they did on Sunday, we're certainly going to get to that point. But there is still 12 games of the season left. There is time to sort of right the ship in a way where they're playing competitive football down the stretch. But listen, this is the reaction you're going to get when you're down 30-3 going into the fourth quarter. The stadium's half empty and you're 0-5. That's the reaction. And right, wrong, or indifferent, it's up to the Jets to prove this team, this fan base, wrong.
And we'll see if they're able to do that. Let's get another super chat incoming here from Ace of Spade. Appreciate you.
Wow.
It's a great question. A $2 super chat coming in. Do you see any errors in the way we're holding the football, right? Aaron Glenn made a lot of headlines this week having a boxing glove punching at football. Obviously, that didn't work. Breece Hall, just as the Jets could potentially tie the game, it could have been 10-10, and then we see how much time is left. Which is crazy. And then Breece Hall looks like he's heading either towards the end, not quite Braylon Allen like he was about to be in the end zone, but I mean he was in the red zone, and then boom, ball punches out. So is that it? Because we're trying to, we're all detectives here. How in God's green earth are the Jets? This curious case here. Are they holding the football weird? What is going on here where they have had all the Braylon Allen, Breece Hall, Justin Fields multiple times this season? Like, what in God's green earth is going on here? Is it a hold the ball issue?
No, it's not. And the two fumbles are kind of different in a way, so I want to take some time to explain that. First off, the Braylon Allen fumble is completely on Braylon Allen. Bill Belichick used to have a saying where if you're going to dive into the end zone at the 1 yard line, try to get in. That's just selfish. That's just trying to stack up the numbers in your case. It's not winning football because of situations like this. If you dive into the end zone and there's someone going to meet you, there's a very good chance that you could fumble the football. Go down at the 1, run a quarterback sneak, and you still put up 7 points anyway. It's the safer option. Braylon Allen didn't do that. He dove into the end zone, and that's why in that particular drill, what people did not see is that the Jets were simulating the situation again where a player was diving and coaches were trying to punch it out as they were in mid-dive, trying to simulate that situation accordingly. The Breece Hall situation, in my opinion, is an unfortunate one. It's an inexcusable one. But if you look at the play, I don't know what else Hall could have done, because if you see, it was not the first contact that jarred the ball loose. Breece Hall was trying to break a tackle, and it wasn't even really a broken tackle, but as he's running, you see him turn his head just a little bit to the outside sideline, and Tiafu, the linebacker from Dallas, completely lit him up high. The minute you saw the head-to-head contact, the ball dropped. I thought we would not see Hall for the rest of the game. I thought he had a concussion based off of that play because the linebacker went high and instantly, and that sometimes happens as well, where if you get hit a certain way in the head, the body itself just shuts off, and you're holding something, you immediately drop it. Those are the kind of situations where, as a running back, you can't really prepare for. You can't prepare for a guy to hit you square in the head in a perfect spot where everything just shuts down. And I think that's also sometimes we forget that these athletes are actual people, and a certain hit to a body part, a certain hit to the head can fundamentally change a particular play, a season, a career. So there's two different situations here. It's not about how they are holding the football, because you're not seeing them get ripped out as they're running. You are seeing, in one case, a player tried to dive into the end zone, which is just, number one, do not do. And the other one where he's protecting the football, but he got hit in the perfect spot in the head where everything just shut down and the ball goes loose anyway. He's mentioned before after the game, Breece Hall did, about having a stinger. That doesn't surprise me. I was surprised he went back into the game because I thought he was dealing with a concussion after that, because you clearly see the helmet-to-helmet contact. There was no call. But different scenarios and different situations here that led to both fumbles.
Yeah, fair enough, and I appreciate you taking the time to explain that, Nick, for the people as well. Another super chat coming through. This one's from EZ.
Wow.
Now, before I answer this question, Nick Faria, again, a $2 super chat. He asks, how was the ZD bet? It was better than the game. Are you normally, I know you did not get a chance to try this, Nick. You were busy covering the game, for God's sakes. You couldn't be with us in the tailgate. But are you normally a ZD guy in general?
I'm more of a angel hair pasta kind of guy. Let's put it that way. That's always my go-to.
Okay. All right. Well, I will tell you, because we had it twice. We had it at the meet and greet. A chef surprised everyone at the end of the night and brought it out fresh right from the kitchen, which was right there, and it was spectacular. So easy. You really missed out. The ziti was terrific, and he also served it at the tailgate, and there was a lot of compliments. There was some fresh. I don't even want to try to explain it because I'm gonna butcher it. I'm not a chef. I have no idea what in the hell is going on there to put all this together, but it was delicious. The fresh ingredients were clearly on it, and that was spectacular. So yes, the ZD was spectacular. So shout out to, again, Chef for putting all that together here on the channel. Appreciate we have 500 people in the room. Like the video, hit subscribe. We'll open up the phone lines here in just a minute on the program. Nick, what's your early look here as the Jets are traveling today? I believe AG said for the international travel of being there early for game week. There is a Jekyll and Hyde nature to this Denver Broncos team this year. But how do you think the Jets are going to respond? This is a first-year coach and a lot of first-year people in their position like Tanner Engstrand and others. How do you think they're going to handle international? Because there's a lot of additional factors that go well beyond football that play into a week like this, Nick.
They better respond. They need to respond. They're 0-5. The Detroit Lions, when they started 0-8 under Dan Campbell, different situation. The Lions actually had been to the playoffs earlier before than the Jets had. We're at 14 years. I think the Lions were at like 8 or 6 years since their last playoff game. So the way that I look at it from the perspective of what they need to do, they need to figure out a way to look competent and look buttoned up and put together. You see it at times on offense. And a positive to me is the fact they keep getting points on the opening drive. It's something, a lot of teams want to do. You want to get off and get off to a hot start, but you're unable to do so. And mostly it's because the scripted plays that you work on during the week do not work out. That hasn't been the case for the Jets. They're moving the football effectively on that opening drive. And I think if you can find a way to turn those field goals into touchdowns, that changes the conversation on how you play moving forward. You also need to fix the defense. They have to tackle better. They have to be more disciplined. And there's got to be more fight in here, because there were a couple times where it just felt like the players were jogging at some points instead of actually running. Again, like you mentioned, the Jake Ferguson tight end screen, everyone was in slow-mo. It really was insane. Just no one was rallying to the football. there's a lot of fundamental things that need to be fixed about the Jets. And when you play a team like Denver, where you need to be buttoned up on all counts, it's going to put everyone in the pressure cooker here. You cannot continue to lose games like you did last week against the Cowboys, where you're just non-competitive for the most part.
Yeah, and I noticed it. And again, I'll have to go back to your point. I think seeing the game live and then going back to check the tape to see the things like, for instance, on the Javonte Williams inexcusable end of the first half run, it looked like a couple of defenders late were going slow. And I was trying to, I'm an optimist. I try to see glass half full. I'm like, maybe they try to get in a position to punch the ball. They're not thinking about immediately pushing him out of bounds. Maybe that's what they're trying to do. But still, I mean, just some of the craziness there. They need to make sure that effort has to always not even be a question. It should always be there from that perspective. We're about to open up the phone lines, but another super chat coming in. Fighter Jet.
Wow.
What worst case scenario leads to Aaron Glenn getting fired? Nick Faria.
I don't think you're getting it this year. I think even 1-2 wins, I still think he's going to remain for a year, because it would be a long-term bad look for Woody Johnson to essentially be so confident in building this current staff to only just say in the background, actually, you know what? Clearly the results didn't show. We're even worse than we were the year prior. I don't think that's indicative of any success moving forward. You have cases like in New England where they bring in Vrabel after Gerard Mayo and all these other cases, but it's still like it. Them being 3-2 does not constitute that they were right to make that move in the first place. And they had to pay Mike Vrabel a lot more money than I think a lot of people really understand. So I look at it in the way of, if you want to build this out the right way and be considered a legitimate, well-run team, then you have to let them at least get 2 years in to see if you can get some incremental improvement along the way. It's not going to always happen in year one. There are a lot of great coaches who have struggled in year one, but are really good in year two, and you see that jump. That could happen for the Jets, but you can't make that decision after 1 year.
And this may be an unpopular take, but I completely agree with you. He signed a 5-year deal, people. And again, I get it when we talk about this, because this is how the conversation goes. Well, what were your expectations? And then people will say, well, it wasn't 0-5. And other people say, well, it wasn't just that it wasn't 0-5. It was how they're looking on the field. But to me, Aaron Glenn has to see this thing through. It would be an awful look at 1 year in. You're like, not what I want to see, ditch. And then the next guy comes in and he's supposed to feel rosy that you're going to give him the time to see this thing through. Regardless, to me, you have to give Aaron Glenn an opportunity to work his way through this, get his own guys. And again, that's not what Jet fans want to hear. And I'm a Jet fan. I feel you. But no, I am not ready to pull the plug at any means. And I don't give a shit if they go 0-17, 1-16, 2-15. It doesn't matter to me. I am seeing this thing through. And again, I can see very clearly in the comment section, no one, or I don't want to say no one, some people disagree, and that's fine. But that's, you have to see this thing through. Absolutely. All right, Nick, without further ado, let's do a Hep timeout. We're going to take the phone calls and we'll see where the hell this goes. We got more coming up after this.
Boy green daily, bugging daily, bugging daily. Talking Jets football, man. Boy green, bugging daily, bugging daily, bugging daily. New York Jets Football Club. Offense, defense, special teams, watch Jets football with Boy Green. Jets, Jets. Let's go.
Let's go, baby. The phone lines are open here on the program. If you'd like to interact with the program, that is a pinned comment, youtube.com/boygreen25. Feel free to call into the show and ask your questions to Nick or shower him with compliments. That'd be nice. You know what? At the radio station, here's a weird story. We have an engineer in the building, and anytime someone knocks on his door, it's only for bad news. Something's on fire or something. And one day I knocked on his door and he went, "Oh, Jesus, what?" And I'm like, No, I just want to say hi. I just want to check in. He went, "What? Really? Nothing?" I'm like, yeah, that was it. But Nick, so I imagine you're, like when we get these calls, there's just a lot of angry things. It's not just a lot of, you know what, Nick, you're doing a stand-up job, pal. So if anyone wants to call in and do that, I'm sure that would be refreshing for Nick. So we'll see what happens, but let's go. Up first, Hepster, who I got to meet in person yesterday, which was awesome. Hep and Mrs. Hep, so that was excellent. Hep, it was great to meet you, man, and way to kick us off here.
You too, Paul. It was great, and I was thank Chef Kevin and everybody, and the sound guy. Everything was great. Nice people at the thing, and I'm sure it's going to grow bigger and bigger every year. It's something you want to get involved in. Only wish the game was better, but what are you going to do? Nick, 2 points. I'm afraid Wilks is losing the chess battle as far as coaching, and the other thing is I'm afraid he might have lost the defensive team. Look at Sauce, given that press conference yesterday. He looked the lowest I've ever seen him. Any take on that?
It's a good question. I don't think we're there just yet because it's more of just an Aaron Glenn thing of like he's rallying the troops around everyone. Clearly the marriage of the zone and man concept is not working on either side. So there's going to have to be some understanding, some solution moving forward. But this is also on Sauce Gardner too. It's not like he played well on his own. I mean, he gave up the big touchdown. He mentioned that it was broken coverage. It seemed like he kind of mentioned that he was expecting to have safety help. He never got it. The safety play, of course, has been poor. So we'll have to wait and see what the actual tape looks like. But Gardner has not been his usual dominant self either. And we can argue about, well, that's more Wilks, that's more this, that's more that. If you're an all-pro, you're an all-pro. You should be playing up to your standard. And they just haven't had that. They haven't had that for pretty much every player on this team outside of, in my opinion, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, Quinton Williams. Yeah. I think that everyone else has played down a level. I think the offensive line should be a lot better than it has been. Particularly in pass coverage. It's just not good enough. Way too many sacks, way too many holds. The linebacking play has been abysmal. Edge rushing play has been abysmal. There's not many players that say he's a reason why the Jets are playing well. There's only really 3 in my opinion.
Right, but you know what? We have a really good punter.
Yes.
Oh, McNamara.
Yeah.
Real nice.
Thanks, guys.
I appreciate that. Oh yeah, I was saying that to the people there. You know, it's crazy how this has happened, right? 2023, the Jets are awful. Aaron Rodgers' Achilles explodes, but Greg Zuerlein was phenomenal. He was 33 or 35 of that season, so we're like, good kicker. But then when it's like mattered, and like all of a sudden other things are right, that's not right. So yeah, Nick Folk this year, terrific. Austin McNamara, amazing, but it hasn't happened. Now this isn't in phone call form, Nick, but hopefully you can appreciate it all the same. M1231123. Yay, Nick. Thank you for putting up with the Jets. And then a follow-up. Also, I'm sorry, Nick, that you have to cover the Jets. So M1231123.
There's no need for it. I appreciate it all the same. It's all good.
Beautiful. So thank you so much. And thanks for being a member of the Boy Green Coffee Club. Beautiful. That kind of support is what wakes Nick up every single morning. All right, let's go back to the phone lines here. Hey, it's easy.
Hey, I'm babysitting my son's puppy.
Okay, how's the puppy doing? Can we get a shot? Where's the puppy?
Tell me.
Oh, good Lord. Let's go full screen here. Let me see that little. Oh, wow. What's her name?
Her name is Cayenne.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh,
that's beautiful. Yeah, see, that's what we all needed this morning.
Our other dog's name was Pepper. So he named her Cayenne Pepper.
Cayenne. Oh, now I understand. Yes, I thought it was like Cayenne Anthony.
Yeah, we call her Kai.
Now I gotcha. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we call her Kai.
Okay, nice.
So there she is. She's a cute little face. Yeah,
that's beautiful.
She's lab. My other dog was Pepper. She was lab and border collie. That was Pepper.
Oh wow. Okay, great picture.
Yeah, she was a pretty girl. Yeah. But this one's lab and coonhound.
Oh, okay.
So
nice.
she's got a little more hound in the face, and she has that little hound bark. She bays a little bit. She goes, she's adorable.
Yeah.
She's about 7-8 months old now.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah, she's housebroken, thank God.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
But my son had been asking me for weeks and weeks, can you watch the dog? I'm going to Pigeon Forge to the car show. You know what those assholes did in Tennessee at Pigeon Forge?
No,
we'll
what?
get back to the Jets in a minute.
Okay.
So apparently the powers that be tried to play some kind of financial money game with the promoters of this car show. It's like one of the biggest car shows in the country.
Sure.
So what they did was they roped off every parking area in the city so that
Okay.
nobody could use it. And they were trying, I think, this is my guess, allegedly, they were trying to kind of extort more money out of the promoters to open up the car. And the promoter finally said, we'll pay you some money. And they were like, no, it's not enough. And they wound up canceling the car show. Just think of how many people came from all over the country with their cars on car carriers and trailers, because some of them are, show cars. Lots of people came. It's like one of the fourth largest car shows in the country.
Wow.
And they just shut
Fourth
it down.
largest.
They didn't even have it. Yeah, my son drove all the way out to Tennessee with about 6 friends, and they just canceled it. All the money spent on hotels and food and all that shit. So
it sort of feels like the Jets canceled it. We all came up here and then we went to the game, and that felt canceled. Yeah,
that's why I did the preemptive strike and sold the ticket. And
yeah, there you go. Yeah,
I was hoping you could I actually really seriously wanted you to try to get 300 for it so we could give some to charity. But I know we both kind of just wanted to make sure you didn't want to have to eat the ticket. So we just wanted to make sure it got sold, and I appreciate you helping me out with that.
Sure.
And I'm sorry, guys. I know I caught a shit ton of shade for not going to the game, and I get that. And I get that. But the other part of the problem was I could not get in touch with my son and my daughter. So I could not. So, I had been estranged from them for a while, and I could not get in touch with them. And for me to go all the way up there and not see my kids, that kind of, I wanted to see my grandson. And it just kind of the whole thing, it just steamrolled. And I just decided, you know what? I'm just not going. After the Miami game, I was just so pissed off after that Miami game.
Yeah.
Because that Miami game was exactly what Breece Hall said. They shot themselves in the foot, and we shot ourselves in the head. And then we did it again yesterday. We did it again. I mean, how do you have it 2 weeks in a row? A fumble on the 1 yard line going in and a fumble on the 8 yard line going in. How the fuck do you do that? I'm just
different scenarios.
I mean, listen, I know, Nick, that you're a younger guy and you didn't grow up watching this team. I grew up watching this team. I mean, I'm 64 years old. I remember my dad taking me to Shea Stadium, watching the Jet games, and we'd be sitting in those steel bleachers that they put out there, and we'd be making them bleachers rock. We'd be stomping on them, man. It was like, if you could imagine aluminum bleachers with like 20,000 people just stomping, jumping up and down on these steel bleachers, making that play. Because I think Shea held 52,000, but when you add the bleachers, that's like another 10, 20,000 people. And that place was loud. And I personally saw Joe Namath lead the Jets to about 4 straight 7-7 seasons, because they played 14 back then. And the whole team sucked, but Joe was that good that he could carry the team on his back and at least get them to a 500 season. But I don't know what's going on with this team. Clearly, this defensive coordinator is not getting it done. And I had my problems when they hired Steve Wilks, because it's not like he was this can't miss guy coming in. He had a mix of success and failure in this league.
Sure.
It was kind of a mix. He was kind of like, no, I'm not going to say he was a journeyman coach. He's better than a journeyman coach, but it's not like you could say he was Rex Ryan in his prime coming in, or Belichick in his prime at defense, or Don Coryell in his prime at offense. But you know what I'm saying? We're talking like genius coach. It's not like he was that. He was kind of like a 65% coach.
Easy. Let's care about this. How many defensive coordinators were you expecting to get that were of that pedigree this year?
I wanted Rex back.
Okay, but
ask Boy Green. I told you I wanted Rex back. There's something. No. Just listen. There's something about Rex Ryan that is just transcends. He's one of those cats that he's this, you can't help but like this motherfucker. You just can't help but like Rex. I mean, do you like Rex?
Are you concerned at all about the fact that he had not coached a defense for almost a decade?
I don't care. You think I care about that?
Well,
Look,
the
if
league
you're
has
a math,
changed since he was calling defenses.
All right, this is a poor analogy, but if Eddie Van Halen didn't play guitar for 10 years, God rest his soul, But if Eddie Van Halen didn't play guitar in 10 years and he came back, what do you think? He's not going to be able to fucking play guitar again? Come on. When you're that good at what you do, you're that good at what you do. He had a knack for taking his guys and making them better. John Itzik is the one who got rid of the players because they were because there was a lot of financial mumbo jumbo that happened at the end of Mike Tannenbaum. Tannenbaum picked decent players. Problem with Tannenbaum is he didn't do what Joe Douglas did by giving these guys shorter, quicker, prove it type things. He would overpay, and he kept overpaying because he was paying the jet tax. Thing is, we didn't get to ride out that winning wave long enough to reduce the jet tax.
And why was that?
Well, here's the thing I would say, Easy, and thanks for the call, is Rex Ryan interviewed for the head coaching job. While I know we are seeing it with Denver, right? Vance Joseph was the head coach of Denver. He went somewhere else and somehow came back to the same team he was the head coach of, and it was the DC. That is very rare. But Vance Joseph did not interview for the Broncos head coaching job a second time and then went, okay, I guess I'll just be the DC. Like Rex Ryan, I just think that would have potential set for issues. Let's put everything the same. The Jets are 0-5. Rex Ryan's a DC. How many of you fans are like, you know what? Maybe we should just turn this thing over to Rex. You know what I mean? And Aaron Glenn would have screwed himself from the very beginning. So I get it. I'm a Rex Ryan fan. I've got his book. If we're at my normal studio, you see it Play Like a Jet. Like the Rex Ryan era was cool, but there's just no way, man.
There's two things here. Number one, there's no guarantee that Rex actually has his defense playing any better because he has not coached in this league for a decade. Mm-hmm. And that matters when you have players that don't exactly fit your scheme. Mm-hmm. And quite frankly, the current Jets roster does not fit what Rex Ryan's old schemes were all about. So that's number one. Number two, are we sure Rex wanted to be a defensive coordinator? Because he very clearly said, I'm only coming back for a head coaching job.
Right. Like he did, in fairness, I'll give the tip of the cap. He did interview for the Cowboys and Broncos DC jobs respectively, but, interviewing for it and being offered it and doing it, maybe it's just getting his name back out there,
I don't think he was ever seriously considering either potential spot.
Which, fair enough. So Easy, thanks for the call. Yes, thank you. Thank you for the phone call. All right, let's go back to the phone lines. We have Gladshaw on the show in the darkness. Gladshaw?
So, Paul, after the game yesterday, those guys that stand outside the stadium with the Uber, hey, get an Uber. The last thing I remember is taking one of those, and then I woke up in this dark room.
Well, at least they gave you your phone, at least to be able to call into a Jet show. They're like, you have one call to make, and you go, oh, I know who I'm calling. And you're calling into the show to recap the Jets Cowboys. So I appreciate you using that one call for this. Yes.
Yes, sir. Man, I had a really good time the past couple days. I wanted to give a shout out to just a lot of people, the Vargases.
Absolutely.
Obviously, you guys, Pop. I got to meet Pop. We had some good conversation. Got to meet Imam G. Got to meet your beautiful fiance, the kiddos. And I got to brag on your kids because the whole weekend, I never heard one of them cry or even whimper. There was a couple times I looked over at PE3 and he had a pissed off look on his face, he was,
which makes sense based on everything that's been going on. Yeah.
But and then he was kind of he was kind of flirting with my wife, at one point. And
wow.
Yeah, right before you left, and luckily you got to the stairs. The stairs are my kryptonite. So luckily you got to the stairs because we were going to have some words if not.
Sure, but, naturally.
But no, man. Shad flew in from California.
Cool.
That dude's got some nads coming all the way here by himself, meeting a bunch of people he doesn't know. That's a good way to lose a kidney.
That's a good way to end up where you are, Badshaw, in a dark room, meeting a bunch of people off the internet. So that's a good point. That's an astute observation. Yes.
Exactly. We got to meet Havmo and his wife. She was a Cowboys fan. Luca, I got to have a really good conversation with Luca.
Our Canadian brethren. Yes.
Yes. They got some shit going on in Canada.
Oh, Jesus. All right.
My wife really enjoyed talking to them. They were really funny. And man, there's just a list of Devin, Terrence. Yes. There's just so many people, man. But and I'm telling you, had we not had the good experience beforehand, the Cowboys, it just went to shit from there. But luckily, we had the good food. Chef Kev, and I'm like, I ordered a patty melt.
Yeah.
And Chef walked me through the flavors as I was biting into it. He's like, Badshaw, you're the bread. It was made 6 hours ago, brother. And he's just telling me all this stuff. So I'm chewing on this food, and he's like, so right now, what your palate is experiencing, and so it was awesome, man. He worked his ass off. His wife was working, her ass off out there. It was hot as hell. Woody, I think he was just born sweating. He got out of the car and he was covered in sweat. It was beating him. We saw him green. Like I said, man, us being from Arkansas coming down, we've never really had we just go to the game. We don't really talk to anybody. We don't tailgate. So it was a great experience. I definitely want to do it again. Definitely forward to the next time. Feel like I've made a lot of great, lifelong friends and whatnot. But now let's get to the game.
Yes. Go ahead, please. Yeah, Nick's anxiously awaiting. Yes, go ahead.
It's who the fuck are these people he's talking about? So, I saw this game being basically it's going to be a high-scoring game. We've got two terrible defenses playing, and basically whoever makes the first mistake is probably the team that's going to lose. So what do? Breece Hall breaks a long run, fumbles. Our team cannot recover from stuff like that. It's how we feel deflated as a fan. That's how they are on the sidelines. I'll tell you, Aaron Glenn, he looked I could see he just looked like he was clueless standing on the sidelines. It just.
So let me jump in to transform that into a question for you, Nick, because Badshaw's right. When the Jets have met adversity this season, they folded like a used lawn chair. And Aaron Glenn even used that terminology when Breece Hall got the ball punched out at the end of the first half. And that's where the cavalcade of stuff. Again, to set the scene for everybody, the Jets were potentially about to tie that game. The Cowboys maybe could have gotten a field goal or touchdown or something. There was enough time left for maybe they could have turned it around. And maybe it's, 13-10, 17-10. So one-score game at the half is what it looked like it was going to do. Ball gets punched out. Of course, the Cowboys flip it all around. Jets make mistakes. They 3 and out. And it's just a disaster. And they get the ball back. Cowboys score again. Now it looks awful. And it blows up from there. But Aaron Glenn in the postgame said, he took ownership and accountability of himself and said, I have to find a way to not allow the same old thing happen, the wind out of the sails. I got to find a way to rally the guys. How do you, in the middle of a season, you're 0-5, when your team faces adversity, how is it possible to be able to flip that narrative if that's already the case 5 games into a 17-game season?
It needs to be. That's essentially what it comes down to. It needs to be in order to get the Jets where they need to be because they're just not responding properly enough. Glenn took ownership of it after the game. I think that's an important step. But if nothing changes, then you're essentially doing the same things you have done repeatedly, expecting different results. And that is quintessentially the definition of insanity. So it's just unfortunately the situation we're in. Paul, I'm really sorry. It's just about 9. I got to jump out.
Yep, I got it. I understand. Thank you, Nick. Well, Badshaw, and I know with all the you're like Nick's like, what the hell's going on with all the names? But from the tailgate, it's like, what the hell's going on? I didn't taste any food. I don't know what you guys are talking about. But But no, but Nick got off anyway, so it works out for anyone else that wants to talk about that and the game too. But thank you, Nick, for your time. I appreciate it and joining us here on the show. Man, I'm gonna have to go through because I have the list for the people that collected shirts and stuff, so I can make sure I don't miss anybody. I'll definitely do that tomorrow when I get back home and everything's settled and everything. But man, it was just such a cool experience to meet all you guys. I feel the same way. I haven't articulated it in that way, but that's it. A lot of lifelong friends now from this experience, and I think I'm going to bring up like and I say random person, and I hope they don't take offense to that, but like there are people that we only knew by their nameless avatar, faceless avatar, where it was like JL, Joshua Langley. I got to meet him and his beautiful bride, Cecilia. And like, I didn't know Cecilia existed until this event. So like, it's not like Josh has ever called in or talked about her. So I just see JL and I'm like, JL, who the hell is JL? How am I, who is this person going to be? And then they present themselves to the meet and greet. And I'm like, oh my God. And now like we're connected. Now I see him. And I think it's just brought a lot of us together. So like even the people that knew each other more, like you calling into the show and from that standpoint, I just think it's brought a lot of us together and sort of like locked us in for anything and everything that's going to come in life together now that we've had that next level to this. And that part's really cool.
Yeah, yes, sir. And it's like, so I'll be honest, like when we first got to the tavern, we got out of the Uber and we got there about 6:50. We were supposed to meet at 7:30.
Mm-hmm.
My wife's like, you ready? And I said, is it all right if we just like stand out here for a second? Like I was kind of nervous, and so I took like we sat out there for about 5-10 minutes, just like got a deep breath. And as we were going up the stairs, I could hear Indy's voice up top. He's got that gravelly ass.
Very distinctive.
And
yeah, like he's been smoking for 1,000 years. Yeah, there is definitely that to it. Yeah.
I was like going up the stairs and I'm like, okay, that's either Indy Jet or they're like pouring fucking concrete upstairs. Like, and so that kind of like eased me. Like once I heard that kind of like, okay, this is real. These are, and I could hear everybody laughing. I'm like, so we get to the top of the stairs and Havmo is up there. And of course, I've never seen Havmo.
Of course.
He doesn't call in. He just comments.
And it's just a name on YouTube, right? There's no picture or anything. Right.
Yeah. And he's like, the whole reason I brought the name tags. So Havmo's like, Badshaw. And I'm like, who the fuck are you? So I get up, and he's like, I'm Havmo. And I'm like, hey. And it was just like, I've met this guy, but then now that he's told me his name, it's like I'm meeting him again, and so I'm like, holy shit, like when you said blah, blah, blah that one time, that was so funny, and I was like telling him this and that. And then, of course, I met Philly Noodles, and dude, I wasn't expecting Philly to be so damn tall.
Yeah, I didn't expect it to be 7'7". Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. When I went like, who the fuck is this? Who's this? Who's Andre the fucking Giant over here? Yeah. So his face is, like you can't. It's not like you're gonna like. Is that Josh? No, that's Philly Noodles. But yeah, that surprised me. I was like, who the tall fuck are you? Like what?
Yeah. And Philly, I think that's when, I already felt good. I heard Indy's voice. And then Philly's just got this like smile that's just like, I don't know. You just feel like a marshmallow when you see him. You're just like, oh, it's going to be okay now. And so he was shooting the shit with us. And then I got to talk to Jets. I think
82. Jets 82. I was calling him Ant-Man throughout the night in my head. Like once I met him, I'm like, Ant-Man. There he is. Yeah.
And I thought that was cool that he came. He came to the meet and greet. He wasn't going to be able to make it to
the game. Correct. Yeah.
So and then at the game, I got to talk to Khalil and his friend.
Yes. Yeah. His girlfriend. Yep.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked to them for a little bit, and they were cracking me the hell up. So, it was cool, man. And like I said, we really had a good time and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Got to see Janet Jackson while I was. So we were waiting to get on the elevator, and they made us stop, and we're like, "What the fuck?" Like we were next in line. My wife was about to kill somebody, and then these people come through, and this woman. And I'm telling you, like I was better dressed than this person, and she kind of had her head down.
Yeah.
and like 4 people went into the elevator, and her bodyguard was kind of eyeing me over, and I'm like, dude, you don't want to fuck with me, man. So she goes in, and I don't know how people are able to do this, but this lady behind me was like, that was Janet Jackson. And I'm like, bitch, you crazy, you know? And then we get in the elevator, and, you know, like at the games, they have like a person that's in the elevator.
Yes, right.
So when we got in there, the lady was like, yeah, that was Janet Jackson. And so we're like, oh, that's cool. And I guess she had farted when she got off the elevator because it didn't smell very good. So I got to sit in Janet's fart on the way. But
okay. There you
go. My wife's yelling at me. She's getting tortured in the next room.
Only naturally. Right. I'm glad we can all have a laugh about it now, you know.
Yeah. But, you know, one other thing I wanted to say about the game, though, was you could tell when after we fumbled, they were just like, we're gonna turn it up on these guys. And I mean, what was it like? We had like, they stopped us towards the end, right before half, and there was like 35 seconds left, and they were like calling timeouts because they knew they could go score in 35 seconds.
That's how it all happened. Hey, I got to give credit to the Cowboys. They smell blood in the water. They're like, okay, this has been a game throughout like 99% of the first half here, right? It's 10-3. The Jets, they might tie it up. And then when they felt the fumble, you could feel it if you've ever been in a fight. All of a sudden, the other person's like whatever drops, and you're like, oh, I think there's an opportunity here for me to just go like it's if anyone it's in boxing and UFC or anything, you get to the final 10 seconds, you hear ding, 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 like it's 10 seconds. You just start going bonkers wild and just start like, you know, blitzkrieging, rushing somebody. And they're like, oh, Jesus. And you're like, oh, maybe I can catch them. And get all like crazy. Like the Cowboys 100% smelled that blood in the water, and oh boy, and they let us have it. And hey, we dropped the guard, and they took advantage and beat us with a bat, and we're like, whoa, we're down multiple scores here, you know.
Yes, and you know, we had some garbage time touchdowns. Garrett did have a pretty impressive touchdown at the end, I thought. And I don't know if they'd put their 4th-string players in at that point, but it was pretty impressive what he did. But like I said, man, it was a real pleasure. I know there's other people going to call in, but it was a real pleasure. It's like Indy and Philly. I think I'm going to go meet them in Carolina next month and hang out with them. So that's cool. Indy's freaking hilarious too, by the way. He blew my mind when I got upstairs and he was wearing his jeans and boots and all that. Cracking me up.
But, when he at some point, like, because we ended up moving all around seats because people started leaving, so then we were able to move. But at one point, Indy was coming down, and then I said, "Hey, do you need any help?" He went, "Nah, I don't need any help." And he stepped on the seat right next to me, and that's where I saw the cowboy boots, and I was like, he just sort of had this ruggedness to him.
Yeah.
Of like, you know, like if you see him like, and he doesn't say a word, you're like, oh my God, Jesus, that guy might beat the shit out of me in a dark alley. And then all of a sudden, but then you hear him talk, and like, you know, he's just this loving guy. So, but there's a grizzled ruggedness to him. But, you know, like once you get past the front door of that, like, you don't judge people, you know, book on the, you know, whatever. Like, man, I was like, man, he was like one of the most loving guys there, and having a great time and cracking people up and stuff. So yeah, he was a real hoot.
He was showing me he was telling me about his emoji and how he's only got 4. He goes, "Do you notice anything about my emoji?" And I was like, I looked down at his hands, like, you only got 4 fingers, like, holy cow, you know. And so I was just like, I didn't know how much, you know, detail.
Which apparently, look at this on your screen, folks. That was accurate to form. And he said, because he said the same thing to me. He's like, "Hey, do you know that the level of detail there from Snowball?" I'm like, yeah. You know, like he's a good guy. I wasn't picking up what he was trying to say. He was just like, man, the level of detail was nice. And I was like, yeah, I mean, it looks great. Along with the other emojis, they all look great. He's like, look, and I went, what the fuck? I was like, Jesus. And so that was quite a moment right there. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Well, but dude, it was it was amazing meeting you. I know you have people. I appreciate you, you know, making time to come over and talk to us and whatnot. And
yeah, man.
Dude, your family's awesome. It was good. for Paul Senior Pop.
Mm.
I know he had a good day yesterday.
Oh, he sure as hell did. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But no, man, I appreciate it and whatnot, and safe travels going back home.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Gladshaw, and again, your wonderful wife. That was amazing. And yeah, I'm glad Gladshaw had that vulnerable moment there as he's like obviously being tortured in that dark room. Is able to share this that like before going into the bar where we all were for Chef Kevin Gilbert's restaurant. I did the same thing. I went like, oh my god, there's about to be some people in here that I've been talking to on this internet machine forever, and now all of a sudden we're about to meet hand to hand combat here. This is going to be. It's going to be interesting. So yeah, that was a trip. That was a trip. Again, shout out to the 500 people still in the room. Like the video, hit subscribe. I am a hotel with my family in here right now, so we'll answer a few more calls, and then yeah, we'll be traveling back. So next up here is our boy.
Yeah, right.
Frank, Jesus, yeah, I was getting emotional bringing you on the show. It always gets that way. It must be the Yankees hat, probably. But
probably
Frank, yeah, what's up, Frank?
It was. I was going to tell Nick. I was going to tell Nick that at least he gets paid to follow the Jets. I've been following the team since 1972 or '3, and I don't get paid to follow the team.
Yeah, we actually pay them. We buy jerseys,
right?
hats, and everything. No, that's when someone said that, like, hey, Nick, thanks for your sacrifice. Basically, I'm like, man, this dude gets paid to do this. What are we talking about?
That's exactly right. Yeah, it was a rough weekend for us here. My wife is from South Jersey, so she's a Philly fan, and lost 3 baseball games and 2 football games. It was pretty rough here this weekend.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, that feels it.
Sounds like you guys had a great time, so that's wonderful that happened. I'm glad you guys were all good together. But I wish the game could have been better for you. I did want to ask Nick a question, but I'll ask you the question.
Yeah, sure.
Well, first of all, I just want to make a comment. There was only 2 minutes left right around 2 to 3 minutes left when Breece fumbled, and even the announcers were saying, I cannot believe that they scored 2 touchdowns in that amount of time. I don't even know how to explain that. Greg Olson, who was doing the game, was just like, I don't think I've ever seen this before.
And that's what I was saying, because the Jets, so their fumble happens. It is what it is. They're moving on.
Right.
The Jets get the ball back. I'm like, you know what? The Jets have plenty of time here. They could do something here. And on first down, they do whatever, and the Jets call a timeout. Like we're gonna figure this out. And I'm like, okay, here we go. And then pass, nothing, no time goes off. They have to punt, and then the Cowboys start calling timeouts and all that because they're like, oh shit, we could get the ball back. This would be great. And then I leaned over to my dad. He was a few seats down. And I'm like, Brandon Aubrey's like the best kicker in the league. He could kick like a 70-yarder. I'm like, the Cowboys are like great forethought. They're like definitely going to get an opportunity. And then I see Javonte Williams break off a 65-yard run. I'm like, never mind. They're going to get a little more than a field goal.
Yeah, they're going to get a touchdown at this point. It was unreal. The question I wanted to ask Nick, and I'll ask you the question. Justin Fields, if you look at his stats, his stats aren't terrible. If you look at just stats.
Yeah, he hasn't thrown a pick all year. No. Yeah, the 60, whatever the completion percentage. Yeah.
But here's the problem. Excuse me. When you watch him play, like he's running too quickly, I think, but he's also missing receivers. I don't know if you know, he missed a wide open Garrett. No, it wasn't wide open, but Wilson had at least a yard and a half on his defender on that one ball that he threw. He put no air under it. He just like threw a rocket and missed it by like I think it was in the first quarter, if I'm not mistaken. Definitely in the first half.
Yeah, I don't want to say it was like an 80-yard bomb, but it was coming towards us, so we saw it. But it was decent. I don't know, intermediate, whatever you want to put a label on it. But we saw it was one-on-one, and he had the corner, and we all sort of got up out of our seat and he threw it, and then pegged the hot dog guy. I'm like, never mind.
It wasn't even close. You didn't even give him a chance to catch the ball, and that's what the announcers were saying. So my question to Nick was going to be, what do you think of this? I mean, you look at his stats. You look at him play, and it's like, is any of this fixable with Justin Fields, or are we done and moving on next year to a new quarterback?
I think at this point in time, so I think I said this before the year, if the Jets end up with a top 5 pick, and that looks pretty lockstep at this current moment in time, unfortunately, the Jets would have no choice. They're going to, I didn't envision before the season, I didn't envision a scenario where the Jets could have a top 5 pick and Justin Fields played so awesome that we knew we had our quarterback. I didn't see how terrible the defense is. I guess there could have been a world where that would have been possible, I suppose. But I didn't see it in my brain before the year like that. If we were bad, that meant Justin Fields was bad. If we were good, that meant Justin Fields was good. Like I thought those things were
And that's what I
absolutely
thought too. I thought that
directly
also.
correlated. And now that I'm here again, if you just statistic watch, like just fantasy football land for me, Justin Fields scored 25 points yesterday. I don't care about fantasy when I'm watching the game, but after I look, went, oh, all right, not bad. Like he's doing fine for me in fantasy. But this isn't fantasy. This is reality. And no, I don't think what Justin Fields has shown us so far makes me think like, oh man, we got our guy. Now, could he be, because of his contract structure, could he be the bridge to the rookie? Sure, totally. But no, I don't think his problems are fixable, to be honest.
Would you ever bring him back as a backup?
For sure. I think he's the world class. And again, this is a compliment to him, right? He doesn't rock any boats. He always says the right things at press conferences. I'd be curious if Justin, in the same place that he was supposed to be the guy temporarily and then didn't become the guy, would he be cool after? So he's locked in for next year with his contract. Would he be cool moving on like
extending that as a backup,
27, right? So 27 move forward. Hey, do you want to come in and be the backup to who? Insert random rookie, a young guy. And he's like, sure. Like then, I'd love to have Justin. He's a fun player, I imagine, in backup scenarios, right? Whoever our quarterback is, and then he gets hurt or something happens, and Justin has to come in. That's a dynamic, interesting thing. I think he could be a phenomenal backup quarterback. But we're looking for a starting quarterback, and unfortunately, I don't think his issues. We've seen it in pockets like Steelers game. He looks really good in the pocket, but it's just been too many. Like it's just been wildly too inconsistent.
It's just way too inconsistent.
We both said the same word. It's inconsistency that, unfortunately, for me, I wish I was saying a different answer right now. But the God honest truth is, no, I don't think so.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, we got to give him 10 games, but I don't know. I haven't seen any changes. It's like it's the same person out there every game.
I'll say this, behind me, this conversation was happening. It was K-Brock and Philly, and K-Brock, we're coming out of the half, and K-Brock says, ooh, Tyrod's warming up on the sideline. I said, get the fuck out of here.
Oh, really?
That's what he thought he saw. And I'm like, look at the side. So he's like, get ready, everybody. I'm like, no. And I didn't see it, but I'm like, dude, there's no way. And I will reiterate it even now with Justin Fields' numbers looking good, but the record being what it is. Ride Justin Fields throughout the rest of the season.
Yeah.
What do you have to lose? Just keep. He's 26 years old. I know what Tyrod is. I don't want to see Tyrod. I'm good. Justin's 26. Let's see whatever this is, good, bad, and different. Let's ride this out. There's, to me, no benefit whatsoever going to Tyrod. Let's say Tyrod plays well. He's not turning this team around to that sort of level. He wouldn't stay healthy anyway, even if he did spark it for a couple of things. And we're back in the Justin Fields bed anyway. So no, I think we have to ride that out. And you will not hear me on any of these shows going, you know what? Maybe we should go back to Tyrod. I am not going to say that.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you guys all had a great time. Glad you got to see everybody and meet everybody. Hopefully next year I'll be there. I am going to London, but I'm not going to be there for the Jet game. So that's kind of screwed up.
That's probably for the best. That's
probably for the best. So thanks a lot, guys.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Frank. Thank you. We have a bunch of super chats and things coming in. Then we'll go right back to the phone lines here. I see we got a few phone calls as well here on the program. So let me catch up on all of these here on the show. Who do we got? So we got Easy. He's already Austrian Jet fan. Let's go to your super chat next year on the program. Much appreciated, buddy. Thank you.
Wow.
I hope this isn't true, but I will read your super chat anyway because that's the kind of guy I am. $5 Euro super chat here on the program. A couple more memberships. I feel it's going to be 2027 before this team will be competitive. Going to take more than 2 off seasons, though. Tough outlook, man. Good Lord. I don't know if I can handle 2 more years of nothingness before we're like halfway decently competitive. I would say this football is, I mean, Jet fans should know that, like, think about what 2014 was to 2015. You can turn things, and that's maybe a weird example, but there's a million teams that go first to worst in their divisions. Like, it doesn't have to be a multi-year thing for competitiveness specifically, not even just, I'm not talking about Super Bowls or championships or anything like that, but just to be competitive, I don't think it has to take that long. Now, clearly there's a lot of pieces to the puzzle that are clearly missing here, Austrian, and this is going to be, it appears, in every form and fashion, this is going to be quite the task to get through this season, and we'll see. Hopefully they can discover some interesting pieces moving forward to take care of business here. But God, I hope that is not correct, that it's 2 more years before we're even competitive. That would be a tough pill to swallow. Austrian gifting a 5-pack of Boy Green Coffee Club memberships. Appreciate you, pal. You certainly didn't do this, but I'll do this for you, Austrian.
Kevin James. I just got 3 things to say. God bless our troops. God bless America. And gentlemen, start your engine!
All right, those 5 memberships went to York Panak, Mr. Bonesy, Why Am I a Jets Fan, and Andrew Calderon and Titan, all members to the Boy Green Coffee Club. Why are you a Jets fan? I'm not sure. One more super chat, then back to the phone line. Chef Kevin Gilbert, baby, gracing us with his presence. Appreciate you, brother.
Wow.
Golden Brick super chat from our guy, Fastest Food Reviews, aka Chef Kev Jr. as well, and Chef's wife. It was amazing to meet all of you guys. BG, thanks for a great weekend. Glad I met your folks and the Coffee Club members. What a time before the game. Thanks for the love, everyone, that you guys gave to my son and wife. We love and appreciate all of you. And thank you, Chef. It was terrific. Absolutely a wonderful experience. And like I said, hopefully moving forward here, we can do some other fun stuff. And we're going to be doing this every year, folks. So if you want to be a part of it next year, we'd love to have you and meet you for the very first time. And Chef will add this to your raffle totals coming up as well. And shout out to you. It was a wonderful time. And my son is so excited about it. You can hear him right there here on the program. Why wouldn't he be? All right, let's go back to the phone lines. Several phone calls here, including our weekly AA meeting. Alon?
Hey, Paul. Before we start the conversation, can we stop with the comparisons of Justin Fields and Drake May? That performance last night in Buffalo was one of the better ones I have seen. He outdueled, in my opinion, the best quarterback in football. He can throw on the run. He's accurate. He doesn't hold onto the ball for 2 hours. There is no comparison, okay? So when someone says, oh, Justin Fields is not the problem, Justin Fields' stats at 7 touchdowns and no interceptions is so misleading. It is ridiculous. Guy holds onto the ball for about 2 hours.
Yeah.
Is just afraid to throw the football, and you'll never win with a quarterback like that. Here are my points. First of all, I'm glad that you guys had a really good time before watching that shit show yesterday. I definitely will try to make it in the next couple of years.
Ooh, okay, nice.
I really would. I really enjoy the community. You want to get pissed after watching that game yesterday.
Oh, God, yes, yeah.
But you watch that Javonte Williams run and the effort on that run, and you just laugh. You just have to laugh. There's nothing you could do but laugh. So I want to take you to task on one thing that you said.
Yes, sir.
You said that you are 100% in belief of Aaron Glenn.
Yes, sir.
I just don't get it. I'm sorry. I'm trying to be nice. He looks lost yesterday. He looks lost thus far this year. Deer in headlights looks the last couple of weeks. Team is not showing any effort. There was no effort yesterday. That second quarter was absolutely pitiful. I don't expect much different in London. I think they're going to lose by 3 or 4 touchdowns against Denver. And you know I'm right. They won't be competitive next week.
What's the spread on that one? Let me look that one up. 7. Oh, okay. I thought it was going to be worse.
I'm shocked. That's why yesterday, to all those morons who flipped that line from -2.5 Dallas to -1.5 Jets, those guys need to get their head examined. I have no idea how anybody could put any money on the Jets. That was easiest money I've ever won, taking the Cowboys in the over yesterday. Okay. Here's the issue.
All right.
If your team has no effort, like they have the last couple of weeks, how could you be confident in the coach? That's where I have a problem. Again, the Browns have less talent than the Jets. They show effort. The Saints have less talent than the Jets. They show effort. The Jets, the last couple of weeks, have been effortless. I don't buy the third and fourth quarters when they're down 3 or 4 scores and they score bullshit touchdowns. Those mean nothing to me. Nothing. Okay. That game was over at 30-3. If I was Dallas could have scored 50 yesterday if they wanted to. They were just running the ball into the line pretty much. They had no real effort to score 50 yesterday. They just wanted to get out of there healthy. And I just don't know where things change. Again, I agree we need to trade players. I think Breece needs to go. Hopefully he gets dealt before he gets injured against Denver. I would deal him today if I had a chance. Quincy, when he gets off the IR,
which according to Zach Rosenblatt, he will get off the IR clean and be healthy. So it's not additional time beyond the 4, which will give them time before the trade deadline. Yeah,
he needs to get dealt. They don't need to bring him back. The biggest problem to me, as much as the coaching has been just abysmal, is talent evaluation. I just don't see a lot of talent out there. And they're paying guys who just don't fit this system. That's a problem. Jamie Sherwood looks lost out there.
Oh,
he's out of position all day long. He gets trucked by fullbacks yesterday. That's a problem. And I don't see any hope going forward. I just don't. And I don't want to hear people go crazy over meaningless December wins when this team is 2-12. It means nothing. It does. It means
nothing. That so I will give you, not that you need it, because there's no mulligan required. I don't think your prediction was as high as mine. I think we were close, but I think it was just off by a game or two. If you had a mulligan, the Jets are 0-5 right now, and you tell me how many wins they finish with, your answer would be what, Alon?
Right now?
Yeah.
I'll say 4.
4. Okay. All right.
I say 3 or 4. They'll find that. Trust me, Miami is that bad. They are not losing that game. Okay, Miami will quit. But Miami blew a 17-0 lead yesterday in Carolina.
That's unbelievable.
4 might be high. You see, I think they will win their first game in front of 20,000 people.
Carolina?
In 2 weeks against Carolina.
Oh, for Jake Asman's crew. Great.
Yeah, I
they're
think
hosting
they will
a party
win
for
game.
that one. Yeah.
They will be 1-7 at the bye.
Oh.
They will beat the Browns after the break. They'll find a way to win that game.
Okay.
All
right.
They'll beat the Dolphins, and then they'll find a way to win another game.
Okay.
I hope they don't. Honestly, if they go 2-15 and get the number 1 pick, I'm totally fine. Okay.
Okay. And who do you want? Who's on your board?
You see, I'm a Nussmeier guy, but I don't think Nussmeier is worth the number 1 pick. You see, I think push comes to shove. When everything comes about, I think that Sellers will be the number 1 player in the draft.
How many are worthy of being? How many QBs are worthy of being a top 5 pick in your opinion?
It's been tough to watch. Some of these quarterbacks have really not been great.
Yeah.
I watch tape. I try to watch a lot of games. To me, I think there are 3 or 4 guys that are first round worthy.
Okay,
I would
great.
say Sellers is first round worthy
for sure.
I think Nussmeier's first round worthy.
Yes, yeah.
I think Mateer could be first round worthy.
Oh yeah. That's the one we're not talking enough about.
Mendoza, who has a huge task this week in Eugene against Oregon, is first round worthy. Depends if Dante Moore comes out, he can be first round worthy. I know Arch Manning isn't third round worthy, so and I'm glad for him he will not come out.
Yeah.
So the quarterback class has been a little disappointing, but I think push comes to shove when the combine comes. I think if he stays in the draft, I think Sellers will go number 1.
All right, there you go. Who could have came to Syracuse? There was an initial Syracuse prospect. Folks locally are talking about him, but he made the decision to go to South Carolina. But probably for the best.
But in conclusion,
yes,
I'm worried about the effort. That's the one thing that bothers me the most.
So the question is, because you said that, like, that's the one big beef you have with me is like, I still believe in AG, and you're like, the effort. Could the players be the problem? The players.
I see a lot of those players tuning out the coach. I do.
So couldn't that be on them?
Yeah,
like,
but
because Tony Adams openly admitted, like whatever this house is, like, yeah, they told us about penalties, but we didn't listen. Like, so maybe it's just getting rid of those cancerous things on the team, and it's going to take this we're going to have to bring in Keanu Reeves to the power of Christ compels you, and to exercise the demons on the roster before AG really has a chance to really sink his teeth in.
As easy as it is for you to say then to get rid of players, I mean, they gave Sherwood $45 million.
Well, that one. See,
he's not going away.
No.
They gave Brandon Stevens $36 million.
Well,
he's not going away.
Yeah, okay.
They're going to have to eat at least $5-6 million of Michael Carter.
Correct.
He's not going away.
Yeah,
Thank God your boy Cisco is gone after this year. I don't have to watch him anymore. What I want over the next 12 weeks is I don't want to see players that have no hope to be here in the next year. So Alan Lazard, he can get cut tomorrow. Michael Clemens, he can get cut tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tony Adams, he can get cut today. Okay. I don't want to see players that have no chance. And guys like Braden McGregor and Kiko Marigoa and Tyler Barron, they're not NFL players. They're just
when does evaluation mode start? So to your point, right? No one gives
a shit about evaluation should have started the day they fired the previous scouting staff. It better.
Yeah. Now this season, now that we're here, when do we finally start seeing these veterans ride their ass on the bench and we go full bore to all these youngins?
I think it starts when they start trading players.
Okay, so we'll see when that happens. Soon. We've got a little less than a month to the trade deadline.
I don't think the Jets will wait that long. They might wait that long for Quincy because he'll be coming off.
Right, they'll have no choice. Right. Yes.
Again, Breece should get dealt this week. If you can get a third for Breece right now, he'd be a guy I'd deal this week. I would. I wouldn't even wait. I don't want to wait till he gets injured.
Right, and then you have no choice.
I want him to get dealt.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the frustrating part. Again, I don't get pissed watching this team anymore. It's just become a comedy show. It is. It's not fun to watch. It's actually laughable to watch the way this team is played on both sides of the ball. You want to be honest with yourself. And I know that the Australian said it was 2027. He expects this team to be
2 more years until we're competitive.
I think that's optimistic. I think this is a 2029.
Oh God. Oh, Jesus.
First of all, I don't know if you saw, they play the AFC West and the NFC North next year. You think that team
I did not see that.
Yeah. You think that team's not losing 10 games next year?
Well,
out of those 8 teams, the Jets might be better than the Raiders. Out of the 8 teams.
Oh God, the Raiders have been so disappointing. Too bad for Pete Carroll.
That might be the only team they might be better than of those 8 teams. Okay, they played those 8 games as well as the Bills and the Patriots. They're not winning more than 5-6 games next year either. Okay.
Oh, Jesus.
But Paul, it's always a pleasure to converse with you in the morning. I'm trying to be honest with people. I know there are a lot of delusional fans out there. Things will not get better anytime soon. They will not.
The pleasure was mine, Alon. The pleasure was mine. There he is joining us here on the show. All right, we'll take a couple more calls and then we'll wrap up the program here. Fun show. Let's go to Nate. He was a fun guy yesterday. I got a lot of Nate compliments. Nate, thanks for coming, man.
I'll take it. What's up, ET?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Well, right back at you. I'm mostly calling in not to talk about the Jets. I'm gonna pull a little easy here and skip over the football team that we are disgusted to unfortunately watch at 1 o'clock on Sundays. That tailgate was the best tailgate I've ever been to, bar none.
Oh, wow.
Bar none. So the fact that you were able to orchestrate that was great. But then I gotta give the shout out to kind of like the neck of the tailgate that was Chef Kev and his wife Diana, which was incredible. Like every other tailgate you go to, one you had the charge, blah 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 blah, there's wristbands, but then there's sometimes it's like a 15-minute line for a hot dog, and you get one hot dog and you get one topping, not ketchup and mustard, and then get back in line for a beer, and then and no, we don't have chairs or tents or fucking anything, and half the people you don't know at all because we're just latching on to another big tailgate guy, you know what I'm saying? So the fact that it felt very communal, and then I immediately saw your whole family, your pops, and your soon-to-be wife had the VIP treatment and the chairs. Just all right, this is BG's tailgate. It was it was super clear, super evident. This is BG's tail. I mean, you also had the BG show on a flat screen running on a
Yeah,
loop,
that's pretty cool.
quite hilarious.
Yeah.
Shout out to Luby for the sprinter and having seeing. So Easy wasn't there, but I remember a couple of people were pointing, "Hey, look, Easy's on the screen," because you
was
had
also on the screen. We did
the BG show, but you and him just like talking in the car back and forth. So
Yeah.
Lots of folks were there in spirit, and then it was great to like put every a face to everyone's name, or for people like you and Philly and people who we know their face, put like a height to their name. We're like, oh shit, this guy's 6'4". Holy shit,
Yeah,
this
that
guy's
was-
5'7".
Yeah, there's a lot of singular bar action happening there.
Yeah, that's always fun to see. But yeah, like I said, the food, like pulled pork sliders with bacon on it, I've never even had that. But they have that at like an outdoor event where on like paper plates. And I was like, this is one of the best sliders I've ever had. And I'm standing outside, outside a mall in New Jersey. So shout out to Chef. He could, like, if the team was better, dude, Chef could really do that. Like, I know he has his full-time job, but Chef could really like murder the tailgating scene. He would put a lot of people, Gotham City and Tailgate Joe. He would not put them out of business, but definitely put them to shame. So that whole community feel.
And Chef said that, like, he was telling me, he's like, that's not normally his bag. He prefers because we did the meet and greet the night before. He prefers the home field advantage of, like,
Sure.
when he was serving us, it was coming straight from the kitchen.
From the kitchen,
and he was like, so that was, I don't want to say uncomfortable. He just hadn't done that kind of stuff normally. And I said, man, he did an awesome job, man. He was great.
Yeah, that was tremendous. I mean, tables, all the hot plates out, everything was just warm, delicious. It was by far like. My girlfriend's vegan, so she couldn't have anything but like the pretzels. But she was like, I had 4 of them. They were the softest, crispiest, like the combination. Even these pretzels that he had on the grill, like everything was to the 10 with Chef Kev. And then obviously, as we expected, we had to go in the football stadium and ruin the whole afternoon. That's the team. There's nothing to say anymore. Allen is always right, which fucking sucks at this point. It's like 2 years consistently of knowing the guy. But at the same time, it's like, it's almost easy to be Allen. Because if you just look at all the negatives, I'm turning into Allen. I'm seeing Zach Wilson doing airplanes in a couple weeks at MetLife. When Tua is going to be out, they're going to be 1 and whatever. They're like, let's see what we have in Zach. And Zach's going to beat us 1,000%. So I'm mentally preparing for all this. As soon as he said 10 losses last year, whatever. What are we playing? The NFC? What? I don't care.
North or West.
Like, it's really easy to find the negatives and be like, all right, that's going to happen. Like, we're driving down the field. If I would be like, oh, we're probably not going to score a touchdown, I would have been right every single drive. Outside when I left with 2 minutes to go and we got some garbage cleanup time. So it's also in my lifetime, it really sucks that we have no defense whatsoever. Like, I'm not the oldest Jets fan in the world, but we've always held our hat on having a defense and
for sure
on being a defensive first team. So the fact that I kind of compare it to, I don't know if your kids aren't old enough to play Madden, but you played Madden growing up, right?
Of course, absolutely.
And Madden has totally changed. I can't play that game anymore because
it's totally different. Yeah,
these little 14-year-olds will come in and do all the fucking audible, blah, 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 everyone line up here, and then you snap it in your stat, and then they got the glitchy plays on offense where they just throw it and then everybody's just open, and then it's touchdown. You're just like, I'm not playing this online thing anymore because you 12-year-olds are demons with this shit. We're like the opposite. I feel like we're the old guy that went on Madden and Wilks is just like, cover 2 man, or actually, this one, let's do a safety blitz. And let's fucking have the safety walk all the way up to the line with like 10 seconds on the play clock. So the quarterback knows he's coming. And then we're only going to send 5 anyway, and they could probably still pick it up with a running back, not even picking up the blitz. But all 5 offensive linemen can pick up our blitz because we never send 7. We don't disguise shit. I'm thinking when we got Wilks, it would be like kind of that Rex Ryan or like
exotic, right?
Exotic. Like when we saw that white guy pick it off in London last year for the Vikings because he dropped back and the TVs are everywhere, and you're just like, there's 9 people at the line. I don't know who's coming. When we blitz, there's just 2 guys will come down and be like, yo, that corner's blitzing, and that Quincy's blitzing, or Sherwood's going to come right up the middle.
Predictable.
Like the fact that we have backup offensive linemen. You said it. 80% of the Cowboys' offensive line was
they were out,
right?
Yeah.
Everybody knows offensive line is all communication. You don't have to be good, but if 5 guys are there all year and you communicate, you can pick up blitzes and whatnot. The fact that we couldn't confuse backups when they hadn't had time to practice and communicate together and like have 7 guys at the line of scrimmage the majority of the time, when it seemed like half the time we're playing 1 safety over the top. Oh, whatever. I'm like I said, I don't want to talk about the team anymore. It's disappointing to not even have a defense though. Justin Fields, as you said, is not the biggest issue in the world. He's not good, but he hasn't thrown interceptions. He's not the issue turning the ball over. We're
Definitely
not 3 and out every single year, but like imagine Mark Sanchez in 2009, 2010, but with this defense, that's what we're looking at. It's like, or when we were 3-2 with Zach Wilson. Everyone's like, oh, we beat the Eagles. And we weren't beating the Eagles 15-12 with this fucking defense. We would have been 0-6 too, or 0-5 too. With this defense and Zach Wilson, it would be a lot worse. So, I mean, I'm not even gonna Angstran. I believe in a little bit. I'm trying to find the positives, but I'm not worried about the offense. It sucks that we have, and I thought, all pros on every level of the defense.
100%. That's what I championed. Yeah, when I look at this defense, I'm like, oh, well, we can't be that bad. You're like, okay, maybe we're not top 5, but like, hey, look at all this talent. Talent. Oh boy, we're gonna at least be this. And oh my God, we're the worst defense in football.
Sherwood's contract is already terrible, and the pen barely hit the table from signing it. It's unbelievable. Stevens was playing a little bit better, but someone tweeted out this morning, all of our moves, Justin Fields, Cisco, Sherwood. All of the money we spent this season has been like red flags. So
Jesus.
Yeah, I'm almost with I don't know, what was it? What Phil? Someone who said almost like trade everyone. If they traded Quinnen tomorrow for 2 firsts, I'd be like, okay, what did we get? I'm starting looking into the trade. I'm no longer freaking out, and it just sucks because I also went on Football Reference this morning. Is this our worst 15-year history ever? Ever? It's got to be. It's not even close.
Oh, no doubt about it.
Super Bowl into Stack Exchange in the early '80s, and then. Parcells saved us in the 90s, and then the Rex Ryan era. This is like they're losing fans for life. They're the Connor Longs of the world. None of his friends are Jets fans for a reason. It's just not going to happen. They're not going to get excited. If the Jets weren't good in 09 and 010, I wouldn't know you. I wouldn't be calling into these shows.
Yeah, right.
I would have found a new hobby. Like this is they're losing a whole generation of fans. But anyway, I'm not going to take any more of your time. Cheers. Thanks, and shout out to you. Shout out to Chef Kev. I'm looking forward to more tailgates and less Jets games.
Yeah, 100%. We'll be there next year. All right, let's wrap up here with a couple more. Bob Lederer graces us with his presence. Bob?
I'm sorry.
That's the only response to have after all that, so
I'm sure you had a great time Saturday night. In fact, my son saw the clip you put up of the cheer that you had in the restaurant.
Oh, yes.
And he didn't catch you're trying to simulate my Jets chant.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he didn't get that? Yeah, a lot of people, because there was whispers of it. So I went like, I wish, and I brought this. So I don't know when I'm ever going to wear this again. But I didn't have this at the restaurant, the Jets cowboy hat. Yeah. And I said, oh, man, I wish I had it because Fireman Ed like sort of rallies with this hat that he wears. And then I was about to do it. And someone said, wait, do the Bob Lederer. And people were doing it out in the audience with their hands. And I said, oh, yeah, that would be funny if I got it in there. But, I wish someone got that.
I'm sure you had a great time, and I'm sure the barbecue was great yesterday morning.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm sorry about the rest of the day.
Whoa, good Lord.
Even my wife kept walking in and saying, I just saw the score online. I'm sorry. And I said, look, this is what we get as Jet fans. It just is what it is. By the way, I wouldn't trade Breece Hall. If you want to trade Quinnen, that's fine. If you can get a couple of number ones, but I'm not going to trade a very good running back for a 3rd round pick. How do you know you're going to be able to get, a good replacement for him in the next couple of years? And you build the lines and you get a rookie quarterback, and who's going to carry the load and keep the pressure off him if you don't have a running back? So I'm unless they don't think that he's very good, and I think productivity-wise, he's shown that he's still got the ability to hit the hole and almost break one. What do you have 3 times yesterday where he broke through? And, the old Breece Hall before the injury probably would have taken, those all the way. But anyway, I wouldn't trade him for a 3rd round pick. I don't think that's a good deal at all. But the others, anybody else that you want to deal is fine with me. Because you gotta have something to work with. They're not going to strip the whole thing down. And that's why I don't think they're going to make any significant moves at the trade deadline. Because I don't think that Glenn or Muji or whoever, even if Woody wanted to step in, what are you going to strip it down for? To have a worse team and start all over? We feel terrible enough now. I don't know.
Have to see. There'll be some big business decisions on to your point, right? Like Quinnen. Yeah. Really good. What do you do there? Yes. Polly.
Yeah, they have no pass. They have no pass. They have no pass rush and any rushing defense now, and you take him out of the lineup, And wow, the critical reviews of our backup defensive linemen that I've been reading one by one the last couple of days is like McGregor can't rush the passer, can't stop the run, can't set the edge. I mean, what is he? He's not a professional football player. I mean, geez. I mean, it makes you feel bad enough that they're bad, but when somebody writes that kind of stuff, and it's, I'm not going to say it isn't true, but it just takes you down, even more of a peg. I give you a lot of credit to your fiance for letting you do this morning. My wife would have said to me, "Go do it from the lobby." So
I see both my kids crawling over here now. So yeah, she's the real MVP.
I saw your daughter a couple of minutes ago sneak out.
Yeah, right. She said they're all sort of
sneaking around
here. Yeah.
And did the kids sleep with you there last night?
Yeah, we have a couple of these different hotel beds, and normally me and my fiance sort of split children. Oh, geez, how'd you get under there, Polly? Come here, Pat.
There he is.
See, Paul, you want to say hey to everybody?
Is this his real debut?
Is this his real what?
Debut? I mean, we've seen pictures.
I don't know. I don't know if he's ever said anything, but
hi,
Paul. You have anything to say?
Hi, Colin.
Yeah, you want to say anything in here? Oh, don't pull it down.
Don't want to do that. Okay, I'm going to get out of the way so you guys.
Kind language.
I'm going to get out of the way so you guys can wrap it up and head back to Syracuse.
Appreciate it, Bob. Thanks for the call.
Hey, have a safe trip back. That's the most important thing. We'll talk to you later this week.
All right. Thank you, Bob. He will. We've got another super chat coming through. Let me get to that quick before we wrap up.
Wow.
Chat here. How good is Lenore Sellers if we get the number one pick? The LSU kid is the other one. That's Garrett Nussbaum kid. I'll be honest, Truman. I know I haven't done any deep dive. I watch college football, but I've not done any deep dives. Scouting review. I'd be doing you a disservice, Truman, to give you a half. Choice, but to be so. From what I hear from people that I trust in the college football industry, they tell me that the position in this draft that could be franchise guys. So we'll have to see if that's your super chat total, folks. Yes, I know. I'm sorry for all the other people. You and your laugh, buddy. You're the best. All right. Well, yep. Wrap up the show, everybody. Like that video, hit subscribe. Yes. You want to say hello? Oh, yes. That's Boost over here. I'll tell you this, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're traveling back. Traveling back to the lovely home. We're heading out. Thank you guys for everything. Pictures, videos, all that stuff coming up later. Peace out, everybody. Take care. We'll see you.